Thank you all for coming tonight. Whereas we only have 3 meetings left in the calendar year 2019, seeing no objection, I would like to invite Councillor Peterson up to the podium, please.
Notice of this meeting was posted on October 22nd, 2019 at 11:09 a.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. All councilors are present. Council President Peterson presided. Councilor Dibble moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? President Dibble requested that everyone please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor Milo.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to resume the position, if I may.
You're welcome.
Thank you for indulging us. Just a matter of courtesy that Councilor Peterson has decided not to run for office again, and I wanted to see her if she can operate the gavel. Nice job. Thank you. Public testimony. Public testimony should not exceed 15 minutes. Please silence your cell phones. When you step to the microphone, please state your name and address for the record. And we'd like to begin with Flora Fontat. Sorry, Flora Tontat. I need a drink of water.
Flora Tontat, 30 Northeast Street. I'm speaking about the ADU ordinance at the October 10th council meeting. Councilor Elaine Milo, Art Sargent, and Tim Flint voted against it, and Councilor Dibble vowed to vote against it on the second passage. So I respectfully ask that if there's any councilors opposing this ordinance, that the councilors opposing this ordinance tonight would give clear and concise reasons for their oppositions, and let us know if they have alternate proposals or solutions to bring forth. I think the residents and those who have taken the time to speak up here, tonight and in the past, deserve to know the critical thought processes by which they came to their decision. That this important vote is not just a decision that is made on a whim. I don't think it is, so we'd like to hear the thought process. Thank you.
Thank you. Stan Franzine.
Good evening, and thank you all for this opportunity to make some remarks here tonight. My name is Stan Franzine, and I live at 34 Daniels Street here in Salem. And I'm here to speak for a proposed Salem City Council resolution to support State Representative Jen Benson's bill, H-2810, an act to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote green infrastructure. In my view, H-2810 was brilliantly crafted and thoroughly vetted by many experts. As a result, H-2810 now has 108 co-sponsors. I think that's the correct number at this point, including our own state representative, Paul Tucker. H-2810 is an important solution for one of the most critical climate crisis questions that we face today. And that question is, should fossil fuel polluters compensate for the social and environmental costs resulting from fracking, drilling, burning, mining, and discharging poisons into water supplies? Carbon pricing as a solution has defined in H-2810 as one
Go ahead. I'll allow you to finish, sir.
What?
I'll allow you to finish your thoughts.
Oh, okay. It's one market-based solution to this carbon pollution dilemma. and research shows that it is the most effective strategy to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. One could reasonably ask, has carbon pricing been tried anywhere else? And right now, 16 states are considering carbon pricing proposals. But for now, I point to British Columbia, Canada's equivalent, roughly, of a state here in the United States. And British Columbia implemented a carbon fee in 2008. And let's see what happened. Number one, BC's emissions dropped from 5 to 15% after the fee had been implemented. Number two, one study showed a 19% drop in BC's per capita fuel consumption in the first 4 years. Number three, not only did the fee have a negligible impact on the overall economy, but BC became a leader in clean technology. And that is one of the provisions that is part of H 2810. In the 11 years since BC had its carbon fee, the province has outpaced the rest of Canada, both in emission reductions and GDP growth. And recently, Canada's federal government, following BC's example, extended carbon pricing to all its provinces. In addition, more than 40 governments worldwide have now adopted some sort of price on carbon. Closer to home, there are 6 carbon pricing bills in Congress, and if any of them become law under a new administration, then the federal legislation would probably prevail if conflicting with state legislation such as H 2810. But we can't stand by. I urge you to support this resolution and help the Bay State be a leader in embracing climate policies that will serve us all going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christopher Nagel, please.
Hello, I'm Christopher Nagel. I live at 11 Warren Street. I'm talking to support Councillor Peterson's order to draft an ordinance with regard to tap wardens in Salem, I'm a member of the Disability Commission here in Salem, and a vexing problem that many people with visual impairments have is dealing with temporary construction areas such as scaffolding and other things. And when you're using a mobility tool like a cane, trying to find that next pole or trying to find that entrance to a business when there's construction going on can obviously be a very vexing problem. And we've discussed for approximately 2 years solutions to this, and we think that tap boards are a very simple solution to this problem that can provide a lot of safety and for not only people with visual impairments but other people with disabilities. So I would strongly encourage you to all the councilors here, if they could give it their strongest consideration, because it would help all types of people, residents and tourists who come to Salem. And if you'd like to sort of scratch the surface of this, you could go next door where there is scaffolding and close your eyes and bring an umbrella with you and try and find that next stanchion. Maybe you'll start to appreciate the difficulty when you have to navigate the whole obstacle. So thank you very much.
Well said. Thank you for being here. Shelley, Stuhler, please.
Hi, I'm Shelley Stuhler. I'm speaking on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Salem. We declare our support for the resolution proposed by Councillor Peterson regarding H 2810, an act to reduce greenhouse gases and promote green infrastructure, also known as the Benson Bill. We believe that this legislation, which is supported by the League of Women Voters of Massachusetts, establishes a clear and effective path for reducing carbon emissions, while at the same time protecting low and middle income households from being burdened by increased costs. In June of this year, the League of Massachusetts unanimously passed a resolution advocating for urgent action by state and local municipalities to address the climate emergency and reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions. The Benson Bill provides incentives for reducing use of fossil fuels, while at the same time funds the strengthening of our infrastructure in sustainable ways without being economically damaging to our residents. The City of Salem has been a leader in climate change efforts. Let's continue on this path and pass this resolution. It will send a clear message to our state legislators that solutions do exist, but enacting them requires the backing of state legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat Gazumba.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm Pat Gazemba. I live at 17 Sutton Ave, Salem, and I am also co-chair of SAFE, Salem Alliance for the Environment. I am here tonight on behalf of SAFE to urge you to vote in favor of the resolution before you to support State Representative Jen Benson's bill H 2810, an act to promote green infrastructure and reduce carbon emissions. Having the Salem City Council support this bill will send a strong message to Beacon Hill. SAFE thanks Councilor Lisa Peterson for submitting this resolution to you that addresses fossil fuels, particularly natural gas, and provides a pathway for Salem and the Commonwealth to move to a clean, renewable energy future by putting a price on carbon. SAFE also thanks City Council President Steve Dibble for being an outstanding ally with us in addressing the problems of leaking natural gas in our city streets and in our homes. Councilor Dibble has joined SAFE in meeting with the Gas Leaks Allies and National Grid as part of a multi-town gas leaks initiative. Councilor Dibble has been out on the streets of Salem with us and our team of experts, detecting gas leaks and advocating for their repair. Leaking gas causes climate change, kills trees, is potentially explosive, as we learned in the Merrimack Valley, hurts human health, and costs ratepayers every month on our bills. To prevent these negative impacts, we need to get off natural gas and all fossil fuels and move into a renewable energy future. The Benson bill provides a roadmap and financial assistance. The Benson bill puts a price on carbon that will return 70% of the funds collected to consumers, while the additional 30% will create a green infrastructure fund. This fund will support renewable energy, energy efficiency, clean transportation, and resiliency projects that will be sponsored by municipalities like Salem. Our city, one of the earliest cities to be designated a green community in Massachusetts, has been very smart about winning support from the state for green projects. As a gateway city and an environmental justice city, Salem will be positioned very favorably to receive funding for projects that benefit low-income households for benefits such as fuel assistance. A very impressive number of our state legislators, 108, are co-sponsors of the Benson bill, among them our own representative. Writing in support of the Benson bill in the Salem News, Representative Paul Tucker, a co-sponsor of the Benson bill, noted that this bill uses a polluter pays model to raise hundreds of millions of dollars each year for the new energy and transportation infrastructure that our state needs. He reminded us that, quote, the United Nations is urging all governments to put a price on carbon because, quote, economists believe that carbon pricing is one of the best things we can do to lower greenhouse gas emissions. Additionally, on August 8th, Mayor Kim Driscoll and Holyoke Mayor Alex Morse voiced their support for the Benson bill in Commonwealth magazine and reminded our legislature that it needs to act. Quote, we know that the federal government will not act. It is up to our state leaders to show bold leadership for our state and region and for the country. I would also add that it's up to city councils like ours to support creative and bold legislation like the Benson bill and make positive change. SAFE wants to continue to position Salem to move to a clean, renewable energy, and to that end, we will be sponsoring a forum with CERC, our city's Sustainability, Energy, and Resilience Committee, on November 18th at the Community Life Center. The forum, Reimagining Salem, From Fossil Fuels to a Green Future, was inspired by the Benson bill, and we will begin reimagining our city as a leader in the green energy future. Moving from coal and natural gas to renewable energy is the path forward that the Benson bill will give creative and determined communities like Salem the financial support to achieve. SAFE urges you to vote in favor of the Benson bill resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Jeff Cohen, please.
Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street, Salem. The climate and housing crises require bold action regionally and nationally, but we can enact changes we need starting here in Salem. Last year, the City Council body passed unanimously a resolution encouraging our state legislature to pass carbon pricing and the omnibus energy bill. At the time, the Benson bill didn't make it to the floor. However, as previous speakers have announced, there's 108 co-sponsors at this point. Germany just yesterday passed carbon pricing for the entire country. Inadequate climate plans, which is the case here, are a form of climate denial. The best way to mitigate the effects of climate crisis is carbon pricing, and Jen Benson's bill, supported by Rep. Tucker, the mayor, and the Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee, of which I am the vice chair, is exactly the bill that we need. I am an original member, along with Stan and other people, of the Citizens Climate Lobby North Shore, and we've been working towards this goal for many years. This bill will produce millions of dollars that will flow into Salem for energy and resiliency projects that Pat mentioned. So I hope you'll unanimously vote to support. We also have a housing crisis, not just because we have diminished rental stock, but too many are being priced out of their homes. The current program is grossly inefficient, as evidenced by the results. The lack of housing is affecting affordability. Homeowners can stay in place and we can diversify our housing. So let's not be an 18-month council and pass the new accessory living area ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Fawaz Abasharak, please.
Fawaz Abu Shark, 4 Harrison Road. When I found out I'm going to be part of the group about the South Campus, I decided to represent the neighborhood, which I was asked to do. So I walked around the neighborhood, Loring Ave, Harrison Road, Lincoln, Pickman, by that. I spoke to at least about 40 to 50 different houses, and we had 3 things in our discussion. The South Campus, one of them. 2 other things was a lot of concern to the residents. 1, tax breaks for businesses. 2, the ADU. We did not understand why are we giving businesses tax breaks so they can profit or they can be affordable for them. We don't get a tax break. We live in the city. I pay my full taxes. I don't get any breaks. Why should I pay taxes and even pay more taxes so some business can build house or business or whatever so they can profit from it? It's part of their job. They have to study it, they do it. If it's worth it for them, it's worth it. It's not, it's not. For me as a city to say I'm helping something and this is why I'm giving them this break, no, I'll wait for the right investor. I don't want to burden my city and my people and my neighbors with more taxes that's been increasing horribly in the last 2-3 years. My taxes went $3,000 in the past 3 years alone on my house. So I'm not talking about a couple of $100s here. And I don't want this so I can give it to some investor to build a building. I don't care where it is, unless they're working for the city, doing some major affordability, something that I'm paying for my neighbors. But if it's just a regular thing with theory, and this is, by the way, I would have a point for people who are not saying, this is part of the agenda. They're building theory, how apartments for rent, for business, they're giving us 3 affordable. To me, I don't want to pay more taxes for them. I don't think we should give them the break. It's part of the business. Instead of making their money in 10 years, make them in 20. That's a business decision. I don't want to burden the city with it. The other part was the ADUs. The bill that passed, or the ordinance that took first passage, I did not meet anybody who supports it. So I hear all these people coming around and saying the support and the people and the majority. No. I talked to a lot of people around the city in many places, in many wards. But just to stick to the people I spoke with, not a single person supported the ADU the way with the first passage. Now, I don't know what happened yesterday because somehow the scheduling conflict, the South Campus working group was yesterday, so you have to choose between the two. I didn't have a choice. I was looking online today at the city's website to read to see what happened in yesterday's meeting, and nothing was posted. So to me and to the neighbors, because I did go after the meeting yesterday when you left, I was with some of the neighbors, and we went to talk to a couple of others, and nobody knew. Nobody came to the meeting, sadly, and I did not know, and I still don't know. I don't know if there were any major changes, but if it's something minor, then the sentiment will be we still do not support it. Unless the major things happen about the BMP possibility, about the affordability, and about all these things, then our neighborhood and most of the people, actually every single person I spoke to, they ask you, please, to vote it down. Thank you.
Thank you. Hearings.
We have an order from National Grid to install a conduit on 1012 Line Street.
Like National Grid has withdrawn this order, no hearing will be held.
Can you,
Excuse me. Councilman Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. National Grid did reach out today saying that they would like to reinstate the hearing. Unfortunately, we do have a stop on digging open streets by November 1st, so it would not make it to the November 21st meeting. So I'll work with the city clerk to reinstate it somehow in January. Is that possible?
or December?
Okay. Just wanted to put that on the record.
That'd be fine. Thank you. Hearings.
We have an order from Verizon to install a conduit on Norman Street, Holyoke Square.
Appearing in favor? Do we have somebody from Verizon here? Yes. Name and address for the record, please.
Hello, Robert Caggiano, Nahant, Massachusetts. I'm representing Verizon. We have a facility over at 35 Norman Street, and we're asking for permitting to cut up the sidewalk, open the sidewalk up, install new electrical facilities. The network that we're supporting provides local Class 5 switching, fire department, fire support, police, 911 services, and that's it.
Any questions, councilors? Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. By any chance you have any idea when, if you get permitted, when actually the work start? What is the frame?
Yes. Well, we were looking, first of all, to avoid the popular month of October. And as soon as we get beyond October, we're looking at doing this in November.
For how long?
November to December. It should only, I would think, maybe 2 weeks.
Any traffic or parking
Issues?
Yeah. Based on
Nothing
the
more than
construction,
there
is the sidewalk only?
Yeah,
Do
we're
you have to
looking
take any
at,
parking space?
yeah, we're looking at running conduit 75 feet from the transformer that's currently under the sidewalk on the Holyoke side of the facility. We're going to go 75 feet down the sidewalk and then turn about 10 feet into the facility. It'll be covered, it'll be protected. We'll put everything in there to protect the public.
Thank you.
That's pretty much it.
Any other councilors? Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. Given that the sidewalk is going to be along a building with several elderly residents and also within the neighborhood where Mr. Nagel just spoke, that he walks down Norman Street several times, and I understand that you reached out to me about information. The only feedback I heard was just, what is this? And the information that I got was sufficient. And also, given the item on tonight's agenda regarding tap boards, if it does pass, I would encourage you to work with our building inspector to install any necessary accommodations for the visually impaired residents in that neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other counselors? Counselor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only thing that, we'll see how this test mic goes. The only thing that I would ask is to make sure, we have concrete sidewalk cuts regularly, and a lot of the times they simply get patched over with asphalt. I would want to specify in any approval that that concrete be recast and replaced.
Yeah, we're planning to do concrete. We wouldn't do asphalt at all.
Is there anybody else in attendance that would like to speak in favor of this? Would anybody like to speak in opposition? Would any councilors have any additional questions?
I have a question for clarity on working with the visually impaired. What are you requiring other than, what's the requirement other than providing adequate, protection for people that
Councilman
are
Dore.
walking the sidewalk?
Thank you, Mr. President. So typically, we have to provide, if there's any obstruction on the sidewalk, we have to provide sufficient signage with an alternative access, whether it's for the visually impaired or physically impaired. And then my colleague from Ward 3 has filed an order to install tap boards. You just heard the testimony from Mr. Nagel. If there's any kind of doorway access or curb ramp access that would require some kind of guiding material, we will have to work with the building inspector on installing that. So
Could you define tap boards, though? Tap board?
I didn't file the order, so I think,
Councilor Peterson.
yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. A tap board is, we're still finalizing the definition, but it's, I believe it's going to be a not transparent piece of material, probably wood, something like that, that goes along the edge so that people who use white canes, for example, or, are not going to get caught in the edging, or, will be able to follow along the pedestrian access easily.
Thank you.
Any further questions from councilors? There being none, can we see a motion that the work take place in November and December and not in October, and that the tap boards be installed or used in concert with the building inspector's recommendations? So moved. Motion by Councilor Terrell, second by Councilor Dominguez. Councilor Madore.
I move the hearing be closed.
Yes. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilor Madore.
I move this be granted.
As amended?
As amended.
As amended. On the motion by Councilman Madore that the motion be granted as amended, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Appointments and reappointments.
The mayor's appointment of Katharina Zelino of 29 Federal Street, Beverly, to the Board of Assessors with a term to expire February 22nd, 2021.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I do this, because we were in executive session, I'm not sure if she's here, okay, yes. Okay, thank you. So I want to move to suspend Rule 29 to allow this vote before us tonight due to the need for a 3-member board. Okay, thank you.
On the motion
No
by
objection.
Councilor Peterson that the rules be suspended, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you. So Katharina Zolano is, so I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion.
Thank you. So Ms. Zolano is being appointed to the Board of Assessors. She's been a realtor. She's been a certified appraiser. She recently retired from the town of Hamilton as Director of Assessing. She's been active in the Essex County Assessing Association and has been a member of the Amesbury Board of Assessors. So she's very well qualified and seems like a great choice. And this is to replace Damian Johnson to complete his 3-year term. So I also want to thank Mr. Johnson for his service.
Any further questions? There being none. On Councilor Peterson's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Madore,
Yes.
Counselor Gerard,
Yes.
Counselor Fury,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Dibble.
Yes. On the motion by Counsel Peterson, 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Counsel Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to suspend the rules to allow Ms. Zolano to come up and address the council if she so chooses.
Seeing no objection, Ms. Zolano.
Hi, I go by Katharina, but my nickname's Tina. Nice to meet you all, and I'd be a great asset here as I'm very diverse, starting from clerical up to the abatement process, and welcome the opportunity.
Thank you. Further appointments and reappointments. Council Sergeant.
For City Sale, we sent Damian Johnson for his service, please.
Certainly. On Councilor Sergeant's request, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further appointments and reappointments.
With the mayor's appointment of Douglas Bowker of 41 Forester Street to the Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee with a term to expire July 20th, 2020.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move this be held under the rules.
On the motion by Council Madore that they be held on the rules, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further appointments and reappointments.
With the mayor's appointment of Carla McLean of 22 Albion Street to the Salem Zoning Board of Appeals with a term to expire October 24th, 2020.
Council Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also would like this held under the rules.
On the motion by Council Flynn that it be held on the rules, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $72,916.68 be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Vacation Sick Leave Buyback account for the fire personnel.
Let the record show that Council Flynn has recused himself. Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, Council Peterson.
I move for adoption.
Under discussion.
Thank you. Yes, this is for the, as was stated, the retirement stabilization and buyback. This is for Dennis Levassier, who's retiring from the fire department, and so very much want to thank him for his service to the city and ask that we adopt it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council Fury.
Councilor Dibble, please.
Yes, I'd like to join Council Peterson in recognizing Dennis Levasseur, the number of years that he's put in, going to 9/11 in New York City when the trade towers came down, World Trade Towers. He has been a friend to everybody in Salem, and we need to properly recognize him in his retirement. And I'd also like to see a city seal presented to one of our finest in the fire department for many decades.
Thank you. We have one of our finest in the chambers tonight, Chief Junto himself, from 911. So thank you, Chief Junto.
So on the motion by Councilor Dibble that a city seal be presented to Dennis Levasseur, all those in favor? Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Oops. I don't usually stand up for this type of thing, but Dennis Levasseur, Deputy Levasseur, is a very special person. And I agree that we really do need to remember this man and to honor him. And he's got a great leader. He's been a great leader on the fire department. And as the good at-large counselor mentioned, we have another one of Salem's finest in the chamber. And I just want to add a little bit of, I'll say trivia. I'm not sure if it's actually trivia, but it's a fact that our chief's helmet is in the 9/11 museum. And I don't know if he tells anybody that, but I think that's something that people need to know.
Yeah, nice. Thank you for sharing that. Any further comments from the councilors? There being none. On the motion by Councilor Dibble that a city seal be presented to Dennis Levasseur, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. On the motion by Councilor Peterson, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $33,043.28 be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback Account for a finance personnel employee.
Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, Council Peterson.
Thank you. I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you. Similarly, Nina Bridgman is retiring from the city after lots of service, and we know that very well here, in that she's helped so much in putting our budget together over the years. So want to thank her for that service and move that we adopt this.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council Furia, then Councilor Gerard. Council Fury.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Nina Bridgman's office door was always opened year-round. We could always go in as a city councilor. And during the budget hearings, some of us were Administration and Finance chairperson, and I avoided that position over the years. For 36 years, I avoided that position. Tough position being chairperson of Administration and Finance, whether in the school committee or in the city council. And Nina was always there with the laptop and information there on the spot that made our job easy and understandable. So Nina, if you're watching us, thank you for your public service and your love for the city of Salem. We wish you well in your retirement. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to echo the good at large, his comments that the Administration and Finance Committee can't do its job without the finance director and especially without Nina B. And during the budget hearings and outside of the budget hearings, Nina has always been a source of fantastic information and great guidance. And I have to say that I've largely enjoyed reading the budgets because of how much effort Nina has put into it. So thank you very much, Nina.
Great. Any further discussion? Can I see a motion to present Nina with a city seal as well? Okay. On the motion by Councilor Dibble that a city seal be presented to Nina Bridgman, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. On the motion by Councilor Peterson that the motion be adopted, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $30,000 appropriation is hereby transferred within the Capital Outlay Fund from the STCIP Fire Department Bay Floor account to be expended by the Fire Department for the fire station roof and antenna tower in accordance with the recommendation of Her Honor the Mayor.
Let the record show that Councilor Flynn has recused himself. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, Councilor Peterson.
I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you. This is due to the Bay Floor project having been suspended due to the condition and the high cost and concern about the antenna's integrity due to perceived rust. So our chief is requesting this assessment, and since it's moving internally from one project to another, there's no net addition to the budget, so it should be an easy approval.
Right. Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor Peterson's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Let the record show that Councilor Flynn has returned once again. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $20,000 is hereby transferred from the Human Resources Department Health Insurance account to the School Department School District Contract Services account.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, Councilor Peterson.
I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
This is something that's in the contract for the interim superintendent, providing for relocation costs in lieu of health insurance. So it's transferring again internally from the Human Resources Department Health Insurance account to the School Department School District Contract Services account so that it can fulfill the contract.
Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor Peterson's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $14,671.23 be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback account to be expended for personnel from the police department.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, Councilor Peterson.
I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you. Kathleen Rocheville is leaving the police department, retiring from the police department. So this is for the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback, and so want to thank her for her service.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Council Peterson for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further communications from the mayor.
We have a resolution for a tax increment exemption agreement between the City of Salem and Harbor Point Properties, LLC.
Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Just page 9.
Just from
Page 9.
just read it. Read this.
Just move adoption. You waive the reading.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, move adoption. There we go.
I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Under discussion.
Yes, thank you. This is a longer resolution, so I'll highlight some of the key points. This is the tie agreement with Harbor Point Properties, which is the former St. Joseph's School and Rectory. And the developer is a group comprised of David Pavick of Salem Renewal and Lawrence Friege of Upper Cross Partners. The second phase, this is the second phase after 135 Lafayette, which a lot of people are familiar with, I'm sure. This is for an additional 34 units added to the existing 51, which also had some community space in it. This is turning out to be a very challenging phase to update the existing infrastructure. This tie is in addition to the state and federal historic tax credits and HDIP. And the planning board is requiring 10% of this phase to be affordable, and the developer is agreeing to deeper affordability, 60%, if awarded the state tax credit requested. So that's not for sure, but that's an agreement that's been made, I understand. And they've also agreed to request DHCD approval of Salem resident local preference, which I know is something that's been brought up a lot in this body, to the greatest extent possible.
Any further discussion? Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm fine with executing an agreement on this, but we don't have any percentages specified within here, and that's something that we really need to see worked out before it's approved. I would move that this be referred to Administration and Finance co-post with the City of the Whole, Committee of the Whole, and when we have that meeting, we can work out the details of what that percentage would be. I in principle have no issue with tie agreements because they are a deferral of some of the enhanced tax collection on new development, and you're not taking tax collection away from the old value. So there's still a net increase in property taxes. You're just writing some of it off for a time. But we need to determine what that number is going to be in the end. So like I said, I would move that this go to Administration and Finance co-posted.
Any further discussion? Council Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. This property's been given a lot in the sense of zoning change years ago to build housing there when the church was torn down. Probably be asking for a TIF later on, this agreement and Housing Development Incentive Plan agreement. And 10% to me is a minimum. We're already at 12.5% affordable housing. If we truly have a housing crisis, we would be asking for at least 20% from anybody that we're giving a deal to. That's the way life works. When you get more, you give more. So I would say they should be at least given 6 units here. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm happy to withdraw my original motion and go along with the motion to move it to committee.
Any further discussion? Okay, on the motion by Council Torrio that the matter be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the Ralph Elsa Whiteside Earl portrait of Andrew Jackson in the Salem City Council chambers be relocated to the Josephine Fusco City Council anteroom. In its place, a frame and sign be placed until such time as the commission portrait of a representative of the Nomkeg people can be completed and hung in said location.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the matter be referred to the Committee on Government Services.
Under discussion?
Nope.
And for Councilor Fiore.
Mr. President, as you enter the main entrance of the City Hall, you see a sign stating that we are the second oldest active City Hall in the country. And over the years, we have added elevators, ramps, and roofs and windows to this beautiful City Hall. Yet, in this very historical council chamber, we have the old desk, the seats, the bicameral long tables, and we have 8 very historic portraits of very notable figures around the chamber. Most of us could not name a couple of them. Each is a male in white, no women. Now, a slight crack in the reality of the 21st century, we may have a Native American woman of Nom Cake heritage. Finally, I am very glad to have President Jackson moved to the anteroom. Some of his immediate family were killed by Native American Indians, so he became one of the most vindictive presidents ever known to the Indians. He had large tribes removed from their homes, and many died on the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma Reservation. If we kept a Native American painting of the woman next to Andrew Jackson, I believe the ancestral ghost would lay havoc on the paintings. If you read about Governor Winthrop and Endicott, his wrath on the Indians was scathing. Indians thought air, water, and land not to be owned, but to be shared. But Governor Winthrop and others and his supporters demanded private ownership of lands, and the Indians were removed. Recently, we discussed for nearly an whole hour over Columbus Day. I was purposely silent, looking at these portraits showing the human side of our own local and national history. General Sheridan behind me was a very notable Civil War general, but his history with Indians before and after the Civil War was very poor. I have taken 5 adopted sons, 2 Cambodians. Also over the years, I have taken a host of Chinese and Japanese exchange students from around the world. We have young people of fire and police officers being sworn in during the year. Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts have often attended this chamber. Tourists from around the world drop in. Yet it is a very clear message in this council chambers: white men, no minority. I am very glad our first woman mayor is recommending this. I too put a recommendation in last spring, like the mayor did, to review the portraits and paintings. Councilor Flynn assures me, Chairman of Government Services, says he will schedule a meeting in November. We have a subcommittee of community leaders on board. We have our own City Hall angel and guardian, our own City Clerk, Eileen Simons, as our historian. We have people from the PBS Essex Museum, local historians like Jim McAllister to help us out. It's about time this City Council chamber comes in the 21st century to reflect the 21st century Salem. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mayor.
Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor McCarthy's motion to refer the matter to the Committee on Government Services, can we co-post that? Co-post, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Mayor's informational page, none.
Mr. President.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. If we could we take out of order before we take up the next section of the agenda and go to committee reports, please?
What page would you like to go to?
I believe it's page 16.
Thank you. Committee reports. I guess start at the top. Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, City Council, October 24, 2019. The Committee on Community and Community Development co-posted with Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of amending the HD zone to all districts in the city, has considered the matter and will recommend the matter to stay in committee.
Under discussion.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We actually...
I apologize. On the acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilor Dominguez, under discussion.
Yes, we had a lot of questions and some answers. in a very productive meeting that we have. We are looking forward to receiving the answer from the planning department and the next following meeting as soon as possible so we can schedule a meeting so we can move forward. Thank you.
Council Fury, then Council Peterson.
Yes, please, Mr. President. I had to go to the school committee to ask for a waiver of fees for an engagement sometime in December for a fundraiser, so I wasn't able to attend the meeting. But overall, very disappointed in community economic development as a member. This is one tool, one of many tools, and this is recommended by a certified city planner, our planner, Tom. And he does a dynamite job in the whole department. And I'm not a certified city planner. We're looking for options. I see at the public meeting, we just had public testimony about the opportunity of Salem State University selling the South Campus, where I went to college and have a bachelor's and 3 master's from. That has opportunity for housing, low income, moderate income, and other things, nicely discussed at public testimony. This is just one tool, and to kill it in committee time and time again. I'm sorry. I'm leaving this chamber in December. How long does it take to get things out of committee? It takes leadership from the chairperson to get it out of committee. Hello, one of the top issues in the election, city council at large forums, housing. And here we have the chairperson saying, we're going to delay a little bit further, we need to form more facts. Hello? Do you wait till hell to freeze over for these things to be resolved? Do we wait another 18 months of research and development? I'm very disappointed at the slow inaction of the chairperson of Community Economic Development in the committee. We need to get that out of committee. This is an election year. I asked the chairperson, is it going to be done before the election? I don't know. Well, hello, leadership. The buck stops with the chairperson. I'm disappointed.
Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. This affects a lot of the potential projects in the city, or I shouldn't say a lot, but several that are thinking about it, and one in particular that is in my ward. And I know that this is not a zoning change. This is not. This is just a tool that is an option. It's not a requirement. And we had all of our questions that were in the meeting, from my perspective, answered. So I'm hoping that we can schedule the follow-up meeting as soon as possible and be as efficient as possible to get this out. Thank you.
Okay, we've got Council Dominguez, Council Medora, Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm, as a rookie, I'm actually understand that when members of the committee have questions, we need to follow through. I think that we're sending the wrong message to the public. This is a debatable body that we need to make sure that we have all the answers or any question. When the matter comes to any committee, if one member of the committee have any question, we have to stop, make sure that we clarify, and then we move forward. I like to say very clear to the public and to the body that many occasions I see how the body is using the language to move forward any given agenda. We need to make sure that we send the transparency to the public. I'm in favor of many of the tools that we're using, but I want to see real solution for the tool that we're really saying that we're using. Affordable housing or whatever issue that we mentioned, I need to be clear as well as any one of the members. So when we stop for a minute, even take 2, 3, 4 months or whatever months it's taken, it's for the betterment of the public. I mean, the general public deserves to have a very real solution, not a solution that maybe we regret in the future. So if we had to stop for a month or so, we will. That's my understanding, and I will. If I am the member of any committee, or if I am the chairman of any committee, I'm in favor to stop and make sure that everybody be clear on the issue. Thank you.
Council Medora.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to express my disappointment of seeing this tool again remain in committee for the second time. This is a tool that's only available to a very limited pool of communities in the Commonwealth. 22 or 26, I forget the number. And it's a tool we already have. It's a tool that has proven effective in producing more housing, one of which is going to apply to 65 Washington, that big courthouse building that just came down. And second of which was on our agenda tonight for St. Joe's that has been stalled for several years. The developers, whether they develop affordable market rate, they see this tool as one of the most valuable tools in the Commonwealth because it is such an effective tool. However, the state has capped the amount of tax credits a developer can apply for. And once that cap is achieved, nobody else can apply. And the maximum tax credit is $2 million per project. And once the candy store runs out of candy, the store has to shut down. We are racing against time every year, lining up behind all these other projects that could bring a lot of benefit to our community, and we are lining up late. We understand that there's another project along Highland Ave that could potentially benefit from this tax credit. And we know it's an effective tool. It's one of the tools that's limited to Salem and other gateway cities. And so we have actually passed this tool twice. We have this tool now. We passed it once in 2016, passed it again last year unanimously, that we agree this is a great tool. And now we want to expand it to an entire city, open it up for opportunity. I'm struggling to understand why we are questioning this tool now. It's a tool. It's not zoning. It's not a mandate. It's simply a tool you can take from the tool shelf and use. It's an option. And we talk about the toolbox, but we have this toolbox that can be, instead of a handsaw, we're making it a mechanical sawzall. We could boost this tool. So I think it's time to take it off committee and take a vote. Thanks.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I couldn't be there on Monday when this was being debated in committee, but I do think that, if not having been there, I do believe that if there were still questions that need answering, we can deal with that for a short time. I would hope that the committee can get together and get this out in time for our November meeting so we can have it out this council year. The sooner the better, so we have several weeks to try and get another community and economic development meeting in. I don't think there should be that many questions left to answer about it at this point. And as my colleague from Ward 2 stated, this is something that this council, in fact, two different councils have already approved to varying degrees. The previous city council, on which many of us sat, approved this initially. 3 years ago, a year ago, this council expanded it to the entire B5. We have an application before us right now that we just put into committee to get the numbers worked out for a project that will finally move forward on some really deteriorated buildings that hopes to use this. And we know there's more in the pipeline. And if they do this, there are restrictions that go in place as to what is built. There are a lot of things in this state program, but I think overall, if this is a tool that will help us get some of the projects that otherwise might be difficult to do done at minimal, if any, cost to us as city homeowners, then we should probably be moving forward with it. But I look forward to this getting out of committee, hopefully in time for our November meeting, so we can finally move forward with it.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, was surprised to see that this is still being held in committee, but and it's interesting because both the votes I've taken, and so we already have this program here, and so rather than rush to judgment as to what's being held out, I'm curious as to if the chair would share with us what exactly are the questions that remain outstanding, since this is already a program that we have in place in the city.
If I may, I think...
Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you. City planner make note of all of the questions, and he can actually reaffirm all of the questions that we have in committee. It was voted, all of the committee members voted to keep it in committee. It was not a decision that I made. That was a decision that the whole committee made, and based on the questions that is being in the floor. So I believe they had the note, and they will be giving answer. As soon as we can schedule I mean, we coming in agreement with the whole membership, we can have a meeting right away. That was the agreement on everyone on the meeting. So I don't think that the delay is being made because we wanted to delay. It was because we need some answers to some questions that we had legit questions from the members of the body. Thank
Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I trust committees and their decisions. I can go to a committee meeting and I can be heard at that committee meeting because we co-post everything, right, with the committee of the whole. I think we just need to, we've already accepted the report. I think we just need to accept the recommendation and go further tonight. We've got an awful lot of business. If we start questioning and wanting to review everything that happens at every committee meeting during city council meetings, we will not get out of here. So my recommendation would be that we move the question and we go forward.
Councilor Fury.
Councilor Dibble, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd have to agree with the good at-large Councilor Dominguez across the way here. When the matter has not been in his committee that long, he did schedule a meeting immediately, got some answers, had another meeting. I'm not a member of the Committee on Community and Economic Development, but I did attend the meeting. There were only a few people here. I think there's only one person in the audience. The city planner was here, did a nice job answering quite a few questions, but there were a couple questions that were not answered, and I think the committee did the right thing under Councilor Dominguez's leadership, where the questions weren't answered. There were no answers. So I believe his intent is to have a meeting as soon as the committee gets those answers. So let the committee do their work. This is an important matter that, yes, we did vote for this twice. Once for a couple of properties in the downtown, and then later, about a year later, for the entire downtown. This one here is for the entire city. And for the record, it should say that this is a decision for a tax discount predominantly for luxury apartments and luxury condominiums. That's what this is. That's what it allows for. It does not allow for, the HDIP does not allow for low income or senior housing or anything else. So we should have a discussion on this. The committee should get the answers, and we should allow the committee to do the job under Councilor Dominguez's leadership. I think he's doing an excellent job. Let him resolve this, get the answers, and then we have a discussion and vote it out, and then we take a vote on it. Simple. Thank you.
I totally disagree. We should have done it before the election, and the voters are listening to us now.
I'm really not sure how much faster it could have happened. I think it happened pretty fast. Any further discussion? Councilor Gerard, then Councilor Sargent.
Thank you. Just for clarification, just asking for this particular committee, just want to know what exactly the questions were, because I think that people have a right to know that if they weren't able to attend the meeting. And again, exactly what my colleagues are, the colleagues around the room are saying, why haven't you done something? You're screwing it up royally. You're blowing these opportunities. Why are you doing this? And all I'm hearing is, well, we're thinking about it. We've got questions.
Councilor,
and you know what? And that's not okay. And you know what? The chair or anybody that's a member of the committee should be able to say, well, these were the questions that we asked. So then we who are wondering why this is still sitting in committee, we have a better understanding so that we don't rush to judgment. We don't say, why are you screwing up?
I agree with Councilor Milo. It's inappropriate to rehash it during a meeting like this. Perhaps you should attend the meeting, or perhaps you should check the minutes or the dialogue of what is recorded, or ask the planner who has the questions and he's creating the answers. Councilor Sargent, then Councilor Milo, then we're going to move the question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a reminder that committee meetings normally aren't even on the agenda. It was put on the agenda a couple of years back just to let people know what's staying in committee. The committee meetings are public. We usually don't rehash a committee meeting at council meeting. By council rules and our charter, once we start doing what we're doing now, we're supposed to go into committee of the whole and assign a chairman and break off into committee of the whole. That's what committee of the whole is for. Now, for my part, I just would like to speak up by just maintaining the dignity of the council. I mean, this room and the chairs we sit in are so much more important than the people who ever sit here. I ask that we have enough of council shaming and committee shaming. I trust that every councilor here does their work, and I sincerely respect the vote they take, regardless of the issue. Whether I voted for something or against it, I will always vote for the results of the vote to succeed, no matter what it is, because you want your city to succeed. And let's trust that people are doing their work and doing it honorably. And as far as the HDIP, it's a tool for market rate housing. It limits the number of affordable units. It limits the percentage citywide. Now, let's take, for instance, an old school in Swampscott turned into 100% senior housing. You couldn't do an HDIP, you couldn't do that with an HDIP in place. It would be limited to 20%, I believe. South Campus, somebody wanted to buy that affordable housing. The affordable would be limited. So this is a tool for market rate housing. So there are some questions. I don't have any, but I accept that other people do. Thank you.
Thank you. On Councilor Dominguez's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Opposed. The ayes have it. Further committee reports. Councilor McCarthy.
City of Salem, City Council, October 24, 2019. The Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs co-opposed the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of amending zoning ordinance relative to Section 3.2.8 accessory living, accessory dwelling units, has considered said matter and recommend the matter be referred as amended with no recommendation.
On the acceptance report, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. On the adoption of the recommendation, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a meeting last night. It was a very productive meeting. We went through, and the first thing we did was we adopted all the document that we had in front of us was reflective of the planning board's recommendation. We adopted all the planning board recommendations because they were incorporated into the document that we were discussing. At that time, we also had a series of strike-through changes that were presented to us relative to questions that came out of our last council meeting, relative to language in one particular section, and also relative to, Mr. President, you and Councilor Dominguez met with the city planner as well as our building commissioner, and had to sit down and raise a series of questions relative to the document. We went through line by line with the strike-through changes. We amended them. We adopted them where we felt they were correct, and we amended them relative to the discussions we had on the floor last night. I want to thank the committee for doing their due diligence and everyone who showed up. I want to thank the mayor who was there, Tom Daniel, and Amanda. I think that we got the changes that everyone wanted. I know specifically, Mr. President, you had one question relative to the possibility of an accessory building in an R1 if allowed to have an accessory unit. Therefore, the building there could then therefore be constructed to a height of potentially what's allowed in R1, which would be 35 feet. I sent out an email this morning to you, the building commissioner, and I believe that he had a conversation with you relative to that topic after I talked to him this morning as well. So I think that unless you have an issue with the discussion you had with him, that is not allowed. Therefore, if there's no further discussion, I mean, I'm sure there'll be further discussion, but my recommendation, that came out of committee with no recommendation, I would recommend that the matter be referred to for second passage by roll call vote. Thank you. As amended.
As amended. Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, we have Councilor Dominguez, then Councilor Fiore.
Thank you, Mr. President. As everybody know, I'm up to affordable housing because, as we mentioned, we have a crisis here. But I had to be honest, I don't see really the will of any tools bringing in to try to solve that situation. I don't see any implication. Been asking questions left and right, and my answer has not been answered. I voted yes, and for the record, if I don't see what I wanted to see, I'm going to support this anyway. If the purpose is the ADU is to create more affordable housing, then we should have something in the ordinance to protect those units, to prevent to become a market rate housing. I don't see that in the ordinance. I'd be asking. I know there's a legal matter, but we don't see the intention. And I know that everybody wants to have some affordable housing. but at the end of the day, we don't see no results. So my intention is to continue to find a way to bring solution, real solution, to the issue that we have in Salem, that is affordable housing. Thank you.
Council Fury.
Yes, please, Mr. President. The mayor is not on the ballot this election. It's a four-year mayor, fortunately. The number one issue is housing, housing, housing. And I believe the voters will vote. Sincerely. I have lived in 3 accessory units, 2 in Ward 4, 1 in Ward 5. This is just a tool. It is not a guarantee for low-income housing. These are private homes. Councilor Dominicos, you own 2 homes, right? One on Raymond Road, one on Boston Street, on Butler Street, I believe, Butler Street. It's up to the individual. I lived in 3 owner-occupied homes to set the rate of rent. And for their benefit, at that time in life, they thought a certain rate was right for their home. It was affordable to me. An owner-occupied home. They took pride in their home. My sons took pride in being a part of a family. My 5 sons were in 40 different homes in the Department of Social Services. 40. One was in 16 different homes. They never knew what a family was like until they came to those 2 units in Ward 4, Puritan Road, Marble Road. Linden Street on Councilor Turio's ward. They loved it. This tool was never meant for low-income housing or mixed income. It was across the board. It's private. You could set your own rate as you do on Butler Street. As any of the people who own property here. This is not a magic gun or magic solution or magic bullet. It's one solution. We had public testimony by Fuzzy, who said, hey, how about better use of Salem State University? We have a number of tools. HDIP is in your committee. Dead in your committee until before the election, guess what? Dead. And we have this that you are not in favor of. I went to the council at large forums, each one. Housing, housing, housing. And you said it. Housing, housing, housing. How anybody can vote against housing in this election. It's going to be a low voter turnout with no mayor on the ballot. It's a 4-year mayor, reality-wise. I bet a lot of voters will vote with their voting machine.
Councilor Fury.
To vote for housing.
The election is not on discussion here tonight.
It is. It always will be. And you will see on Tuesday the results, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. This doesn't solve our housing issues. Let's be clear. What this does do is give us the opportunity to make potentially a small dent in it. But it also gives our homeowners some relief. It gives homeowners the opportunity to be small-scale private developers of their own. It gives people an opportunity to potentially stay in their homes and be able to earn some income by renting out ADUs in there, or ADAs as we're now calling them, or whatever the ALAs now, so we've changed our acronym. So it gives people the opportunity to make some income that helps offset their tax bill, helps offset their cost of a mortgage, helps put some cash in their pocket. So it's an opportunity there. Generally speaking, these units they won't be affordable units. They should most likely, because of the limitations on them, be at somewhat lower cost than your typical market rate unit. So they will have some effect as they get put through, as they get approved. Probably many of them will be used by family members and then eventually rented out when the family need no longer exists. So I think these are positives. I think, and I hope that we're able to pass this for second and final passage once the discussion's over. Hopefully the discussion won't go on too long, and it's partly my fault too, but I would hope that some of the things we've discussed for tools with the mayor, tools with the planning department to try and encourage these units to be more affordable, like having a bank loan program that has an affordability covenant assigned to it, like having a tax write-off that is tied to affordability associated with it. I'd like to see those things happen. They're being done in other communities that are allowing these units to be built. I think they're having some impact, and every little thing that we can do makes it that much better for people. If 20 of the, we've approved, I think, 20 of the family, or 10 of the family units so far since passing it, the original version of this, a year and plus ago. If we approve 20 of these in a year, going forward, that's 20 people who will be most likely able to find housing at a little bit lower cost than they would be otherwise, and 20 private citizens who are going to be able to become small-scale landlords and make some money from their homes. So I fully support this. I think we need to do more and go further. I agree with my colleague at large in that sense that we need to do more, but each piece is part of the puzzle, and I look forward to this hopefully moving on tonight.
Any further discussion? Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. When I voted in favor of the religious and municipal reuse ordinance that recently passed, I stated at the time that going forward, I would look at every ordinance through the lens of affordable housing. For this ADU, I am looking at it through two lenses. One is, this basically turns, or has the potential to turn an R1 neighborhood into an R2. Now, we can use semantics, we can use words, we can use, primary residence, secondary, whatever you want to call it. You've got two separate units, two separate, quote, families, or whatever they may be, living in a single-family neighborhood. Secondly, I have to agree with my at-large colleague. There is no guarantee that this is going to benefit anybody in terms of affordable housing. And by the way, we haven't even defined affordable housing other than helping families that make $90,000 a year. There's nothing in writing. I've got a bracelet on here that I wear just about every day. The only times I don't wear it is when I forget. It's a bracelet in memory of Councilor Joe O'Keefe. And I'm going to bring him into this discussion because one of the things he always said was if it isn't in writing, it doesn't exist. We can try to predict the future. We can surmise. We can say we think, we hope. We can say all of those things regarding these accessory dwelling, accessory living, whatever you want to call them, units. But there are no guarantees here. We can call it a tool in the toolbox. Yes, maybe it is going to be a tool in the toolbox, but we don't know that. And we're legislating here tonight based on we think and we hope. I would love to hope that, but as a counselor, I have to go based on facts. There's nothing, nobody has shown us that this will, in fact, based on hard facts, that this will, in fact, affect affordable housing. So I can't support it.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was at the meeting last night of the OLA committee. I'm not a member of that committee, but I found the meeting to be pretty productive. We went through everyone's objections and answered all of them pretty much, and came to a really good, never perfect, because these are compromises between us as a body. And one thing that I have just found so frustrating over the past couple of years is that we all just keep saying we're in favor of affordable housing, and we talk about the toolbox, but we're leaving it empty. We're not putting any tools in it. And I think that every single time we sink a tool, then we're showing our community that it's not, that we can't see the forest for the trees, that we're not actually trying to put these tools together to create opportunities for our seniors, for our young people. And yeah, every single tool is not going to spell out every single thing that we want, but together as a combination, if we are smart and put them together that way, which we're really trying to do, or I can say I'm trying to do, I think we'll get there. I know we will. But we can't, I think it's important for us to remember that every single tool is not going to solve every single problem.
Thank you. Was your hand up? Okay. So we have Councilor Gerard, then Councilor Flynn, then back to Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. So basically what we're saying then is if that we're looking out at the landscape of Salem, and even though people are saying we're in crisis, we have problems, our constituents are struggling to afford their homes, our constituents want to downsize, they can't afford to downsize in the place where they have raised their families, and if this gets voted down, then we're just saying, okay, you don't have anything, and there are no other options, because we're not going to vote for something that can potentially help some people. I mean, it's looking for facts, it's called supply and demand. You create more supply, and like the demand is so high because the supply is so low. So if we create more supply, then it lowers the pressure on the demand. We need to do this. If you vote no, you're saying, I don't care that there is a housing crisis because it's fine for me, and I don't care about the rest of the city that's impacting this. And I hope all of you realize that.
Council Flynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I find it pretty insulting of what the Good Ward 6 Council said, that I don't care because I voted no for this. I'm glad that right now that we have it in place that family members and caregivers can use this. Right now, I think a lot of people are confused. They're thinking that family members can't use this and it's only to help family members. That's not the case. And I also share the concerns of the Good at Large Council. I've had many people come up to me in my ward, and there's a lot of concerns about when they bought their homes. They bought in an R1 neighborhood because that's where they wanted to live. That's where they made their purchase. They expected to be in single-family homes. In essence, even though there probably won't be too many of these, that's a question that no one really knows the answer to. There's still concern that it is almost getting rid of part of R1 neighborhoods. And that is a concern. I do care about housing. I care about helping people find housing. But at the same time, there is a concern from what people are asking me while I'm doing my homework. So I will be voting no for this too.
Back to Council Milo, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm all set. Would vote down for my next one.
Okay, thank you. Council Fury.
Sitting in the dean's seat. Thank you. Sitting in the dean's seat, Councilor Joe O'Keefe would say, not necessarily lighting. In reality, I see it in reality. I've seen it in reality, what these units can do. My family was strengthened by these units, 2 in Ward 4, 1 in Ward 5. They were strengthened. They made my family stronger. My sons have turned out better. And Joe O'Keefe, a family man, a grandfather, and a great-grandfather, would say, housing, housing, housing. Fake news, I believe, put in writing. He sees it through my eyes, right here, Joe O'Keefe. My role model, Lenny O'Leary, Councilor O'Leary, Maureen Fisher's uncle and godfather. He would say, housing, 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 particularly in Ward 4. And this is across the board for housing. Housing. Thank you.
Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to respond to some of the comments that some of the good councilors referred to me. And I might not be the best communicator, but I know exactly what I'm doing. I represent a community that needs real solution, no more talking. Where is the affordable housing in that audience? If anyone can show to me, I can actually say, okay, you're right. There is none. My community deserves to have some real answer. There is a lot of talking. I presented before, if we really wanted to solve the solution, let's bring 20% instead of 10%. We're talking about one developer right on Lafayette, 3 units out of 35. That's not the solution. Let's be aggressive. Let's really show that we really care about those people. Don't present it to us like a solution. At the end of the day, nothing happened. I'd be asking from day one, what is the affordable housing on that tool, which I know is important, but there's nothing there. We're going to continue to approve. Not only that. We have many years building housing in Salem. I want to ask the question, what is the affordable housing in those housing? Nothing. So now we want to talk about affordable housing like it is the end of the world, but at the end of the day, nothing happened for affordable housing. We want a real solution. I take this personal. I'm coming from a community that I see people living every day, and I want to see solution. If there is no solution in any pieces that come in front of me, I'm going to vote no. Regardless of people voting yes or no, or me, the next coming election, with Councilor Allard, I'm not here for 1 term or 2 terms. I'm here to defend my people, and I will defend it no matter what. I'm going to repeat that again. If I only had to serve 1 term, I'd be happy. I'd be happy. I was voted the most voted one in the last election, and I was voted to mandate by the people to represent the people. I represent the people. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no objection, I saw the mayor is in the room and she has raised her hand. Can I see a motion to suspend the rules to allow the mayor to speak? And second, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Mayor Driscoll.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity just to come before you, I guess, to advocate strongly for the adoption of this ordinance and to share with you just a few things as to why I think it's critical that we act now. And I recognize Councilor Dominguez in particular is having a challenge voting for this again, and I can count votes. And we had 8 votes last time, and Councilor Dominguez, you were one of them. So we need you to stay voting in support of this ordinance in order for it to pass. And I guess I would just offer a few things. I think it's a huge setback as a community if we don't adopt this ordinance. We started out the year as a body coming together, trying to align our goals for the year. And one of the key goals we agreed to as a council and as administration was housing. There were others, transportation, climate change for sure. And I'm glad to see some of the progress we've been making over the course of this year on these issues. As part of the housing issue, we really wanted to have community conversations. It wasn't just about what the 12 of us thought were important, but bringing our community around this issue. I get a lot of phone calls from people who are being displaced, who can't afford to stay in Salem, who are struggling, who have typically lived here. Many of our service industry personnel, young adults, older seniors, it really runs the gamut. There is no one lane that it fits with people who want to be here, who have been here, and can no longer be here. We put together a policy initiative that really carved out where are the areas we think we can start to make some traction. There's no one thing we are going to do that's going to recognize this, but how do we incrementally start addressing this? When we talk to the community about this issue and educate people around statistics, around what it means to live in Salem, what is that affordability level? I'm so happy to hear people talk about 60% AMI and 10% versus 20% and other numbers. We weren't even in that sphere of discussion. And I've said in the past, if I brought in an inclusionary housing ordinance to this body a few years ago, I would have been kicked right out of here because people didn't believe we had an affordable housing program. We already had our 10%, we don't need any more. That's really changed. We've all been educated. We've all tried to understand what can we do, how can we come together. We are not alone in this. All of Greater Boston is facing this. Frankly, even across the country, places like Minneapolis, Seattle, you can go to any large city with a strong economy, they're seeing a housing crisis. It is here, and this is about what we can do. And as a community, we've come together and we've identified some policies. And at the top of that list for folks was an accessory dwelling unit. Looking at that as a tool that could contribute, maybe not a subsidized unit, but smaller in size, locations in basements, garages, and attics. Those are the places that typically you see lower rental properties. We know, and you have my word, I promised this at the last meeting, that these affordable units, these ADUs, can be tied to exemptions and with a loan pool can be tied to affordability. We've already begun the work to create the loan pool and to create the language for the tax exemption. It wasn't ready for this meeting, but it will be brought in for your November meeting. I would love to partner with you to bring that in. It will be useless if we don't have the underlying accessory dwelling unit allowed. You have to pass this in order for us to create the lane for the affordability. And I thought we talked about this at the last meeting. So it's like soul-suckingly hard to continue to get to this 1 yard line and not get there when it comes to issues around housing and people who are in need in our community. So I'm really, really hopeful that you won't box yourself in, that you'll think about this as an opportunity. We've had, it's a little bit lesser crowd here, but we have had a packed council chamber. Every single meeting, ADUs have been on the agenda. I hope that portrays how meaningful it is to our community that we have this tool available. ADUs. Why are they important? Not just in Salem, because it creates another housing opportunity in a place that already has existing infrastructure. It's not new. We don't have to worry about buildings coming down and cranes and dust and dirt. It's in an existing real estate property in that foundation. Why has the American Planning Association, the Smart Growth Alliance, Smart Growth America, the Mass Municipal Association, the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, the Urban Land Institute, and the Mass Housing Partnership all identified this, and others, those are just the ones I came up with in the last 5 minutes that I'm aware of, identified this as a key best practice. We know many communities, the whole Cape is looking at ADUs as an opportunity to think about how to help their growing senior population with rising housing costs, and also provide residents for their restaurant population that we know they, as a tourism and hospitality hub, they need. This is the right path for us to be on. We didn't spend, what is this, the 10th month of the year, 10 months getting ready to say, what are some of these tools to get to this point? Second passage, we worked tirelessly, I think. Thank you, Councilor Gribble, for raising additional issues. We worked through those. Last night, we were here an hour and a half, 2 hours, working through language changes, because he expressed some concern at that last meeting and said, I want to make sure we're clear about this. We have identified those, city councilors, city solicitors, building inspector, planning officials. We have all been here working on this ordinance to get it right. And it's at a point where we're on the 1 yard line and can do something that's beneficial to seniors who live here, to young adults who live here. This affordability language that is so important to you is a piece of this puzzle. You have my word and commitment that we are coming in with an exemption language like they do in Lincoln. This is not something we're doing for the first time, and that we're putting a pool together. The CPA round hasn't even started yet. We've already identified the Affordable Housing Trust Fund as this is a potential CPA grant. We can't guarantee what they're going to do, but also reaching out to the local banks. It's going to happen. It's an amazing opportunity to put Salem where it needs to be from the housing perspective. It's not the only one. There's more to coming. On the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board, we're looking at leveraging public land. We're trying to do everything we can to actually put projects. And the stats on how come we haven't built affordable housing, there's a lot of affordable housing that's been built in Salem over the last 10 years. Unfortunately, it's not enough. And that's why this is an important tool. Let's not snatch this victory away from each other when we've been working so hard and pressing so forward. And so many people have been here, many of which aren't here tonight, but have been for years, and many of which are. For months, I should say, as we've been on this issue. The planning board recommended it. It's gone through this iterative process to get to this point where we do something good for our community. And it's not about elections. Elections are important. And I've heard at every single one of the election, candidates forums, people talking about housing. I don't care if there's an election this November or last November. This is an important tool for Salem. And I hope you won't let it go away. It can't be refiled. This cannot come back. It's months and months and months of work that goes down the tubes if we don't move this forward. I hope you'll be in a position to vote for this. It will create affordable units. It will help the housing conundrum that we find ourselves in. And I think it's good for Salem and good for lots of communities that are also watching what we're doing and looking to take our lead.
Thank you, Mayor. Any further discussion? Council Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's not that people don't care about affordable housing. We all care about each other. Salem's a very, very caring city. None of us grew up with silver spoons around here. Most of us started out with difficult times. It's just how to go about it that I see. I mean, one friendly 40B, that's a tool that we use in many cases down the point, but around the city. One friendly 40B, corner of Levitt Street and Congress Street, 9,800 square feet, 25 units of affordable housing. That's 25. We won't get 25 probably of these units in the city, but yet we're in essence rezoning the whole city. Any R1 neighborhood can be affected by this. We're not a city like a Marblehead or a Swampscott that's mostly one-family homes. We have as many one-family homes as we have condos, or vice versa now. So, going door to door, the people in the one-family homes are concerned about this. They don't always have time to show up and talk at public hearings. but they're concerned. And we have to listen to the will of the people. But we don't take our vote based on how many people show up at public testimony and take a count there. We just can't do it that way. We have to work harder than that. Now, I mean, so much has been said about what can we do in the other way. What other tools can we use? The friendly 40B is one of them, and we are using it, and it can be used, and I think it'll work. But, you know, we have to do it our way. Our housing programs have to be decided what Salem people need and what we need, and what we think they need also. Not based on cookie-cutter state programs from the Metropolitan Area Planning Council and gateway communities. Okay? We shouldn't have to just plug in state programs. We have to work a little bit harder than that and a little bit better than that. I mean, we work hard to keep the contracts in our large apartment buildings, like Pequot Highlands, Loring Towers, Salem Heights. Those are under contracts that haven't been built with zoning changes. They run out every 20 years. We work hard to keep those affordable, and we still will. We need to continue on with loans to multifamily housing owners. Low-interest loans to help them fix up their houses in return for making them affordable. Those will make way more affordable units than this program will. And there'll be a willing partner with the homeowner. Make a neighborhood look better, make affordable housing without creating any more density. We'll have affordable units than that. Old schools. So much has been said about our old schools. We just did a zoning change for the municipal religious for 2 old schools in the senior center, repeated over and over again. And the first project that comes afterwards is redoing Salem State College South Campus. That was laying in the winds on there. So that affected way more than we even know about, and will continue to do so. Zoning changes aren't just little things. They're forever, and they're hard to reverse, and we have to really think hard about them. We can't go back on zoning changes. It's very difficult. So the old schools that we have, bought and paid for by parishioners and taxpayers, built in difficult neighborhoods, exempt from zoning. In return for all that, a willing church and a willing city could turn those into 100% affordable units, especially for seniors who can come in and have less cars, less impact on those neighborhoods, help needy seniors, and open up seniors that own houses that want to scale down to open up their house for somebody a family who wants to buy their house. Then somebody moves into that family's apartment. Then somebody moves out of the projects into their apartment. That's how you create a circle of housing and opportunity in a city, by having something for everybody. Then our CPA, Community Preservation Act money based on real estate taxes in Salem that we give to the state and get some of it back. Now, we've only been using 10% of that for affordable housing, and we can use up to 60% of it. If we had a crisis, wouldn't we use more than that? Wouldn't we have been buying 3-decker buildings throughout the years, having them rehab, turning them over to the Salem Housing Authority, letting them manage, and then building other ones also, right? Then the friendly 40B I spoke about. And then with new development, I've spoke before about it. When somebody's building by right, they give us 10%. We've already got 12.4, but we could use more. When they're building with zoning changes, special permits, all kinds of gifts from the city, they should give 20%. I said, anytime somebody's given more, they ought to give back more in return. And I keep getting told that developers can't afford that. So why can't developers afford to help us if we're helping them? I'll never be able to understand that, and I'll keep pushing for more. So it's not that we're against affordable housing. I'm against these zoning changes. And there are many, many ways and many other tools we can use. And I think this is an easy way to do it by these state cookie-cutter programs. If we work a little bit harder, we can do it the right way, create more affordable housing, have less impact on our neighborhoods, and preserve the zoning in the city. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council Fury. Thank you.
Councilor Dibble, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The comments by Council Milo and Council Sargent, I have to agree with that zoning is not to be taken lightly at all, because once you make those changes, it's permanent and affects the whole look and the makeup of the city, and has a lot of unintended consequences that might be something that we didn't see along the way. But I have to give credit to Council Dominguez just now, at-large Council Dominguez. I've called you a rookie. This is your first term. I've called you a rookie for the last year and a half now or so. Not recently, but quite a few times. You know, when we're out talking at another meeting or something, hey, here's the rookie. Tonight and the last couple of months, I'm no longer going to call you the rookie. You're standing up and you're providing leadership, and it's good leadership, and I applaud what you're doing. You're speaking out from your heart, and you're saying what you have to say. So it's not a rookie anymore, it's leadership. You have a new nickname. Thank you. I voted at the last meeting, Mr. President, to keep this alive on first passage, with the acknowledgement that I didn't like it. It needed a lot of work. I applaud the planning department for putting a lot of work, and the building inspector, the zoning enforcement officer, put a lot of work into making changes to clarify, get rid of the loopholes. I used an example of a developer before the zoning board of appeals on the short-term rentals ordinance that we passed a while, the Airbnb process, where he had 6 or 8 housing buildings, residential buildings that he was trying to make into basically hotels, short-term rentals. So people can come in, rent it for a day or two, move out, rent it for a week, another person, on and on. That was the intent of the ordinance that we wrote. We talk about grandfathering for 6 months or 1 year, but along the way it was lost. We acted fast, and it had unintended consequences. We have a developer changing, and that's, if each of those buildings that he applied for were 3 or 4 families, and there's 8 of them, well, that's quite a few, 30 apartments that are being taken off of the rolls for young families and others that need apartments in Salem. Unintended consequences by acting fast, not keeping it in committee, not hammering it out, not making it clear. And in hindsight, we talked about 6 months or a year of grandfathering, but along the way, it was taken out. And that's too bad. So I voted for first passage the first time in the hopes to fix the ordinance. But in my opinion, Mr. President, it's not fixable. Okay? I think that the ordinance does more harm than good. Every home, if this passes, every home in the city, single family, 2 family, 3 family, 4 family, and 5 family, can all add 1 more apartment onto their property. You could take a single family neighborhood, you could take a garage in the backyard and turn it into another small house on every single property in every single family lot. It's unintended consequences. We all talk affordable housing, but we're not building any. The Housing Authority is not building any. It's been 25 years or longer since they built any senior housing in Salem, and much longer for any veterans housing. Maybe 60 years. I don't know how long it's been. A lot longer than I've been around this planet. So around Ward 7, I've had 1 person in favor of this, a Ward 7 resident, and I've had about 50, I didn't keep count, but it's between 40 and 60 people who have said, no, this is not a good thing for Salem. Never mind their neighborhood, their street, their house, their neighbor. It's not a good thing for Salem. We have a crisis on the housing, but this ordinance hurts more than it helps at all. We have a crisis in our schools. Nobody's really talking about that crisis. We have a crisis with the amount of traffic that we have. Loring Avenue, it took me 42 minutes, I think, to get here from my house off of Loring Avenue. That's crazy. It's 1.25 miles, so I'll measure it, but it's roughly 1.25 miles, mile and a half, whatever it is. But Loring Avenue, gridlocked both ways at odd times of the day, not even rush hour. It just backs up for the heck of it sometimes. I don't know why. We've worked on the lights. Repeatedly, the state has come and fixed the lights, but it's still backing up. We have a crisis, almost a crisis, in overcrowding the city. And the city now wants to build several thousand more housing units. Well, that's quite a bit. There's some fairly common sense, easy solutions to this housing crisis, but we're not doing those. It's too bad. We have a good ordinance that Councilor Milo helped craft with seniors from the Council on Aging and the Senior Center, Mr. President. It's a good ordinance. Only 12 people have taken advantage of it, but I get the feeling that not too many people even know it exists. That ordinance allows for extended families to live inside the same house with their family or a medical staff that might be needed to take care of a loved one that's in that house. That's a great ordinance. We're helping keep families together. That ordinance passed unanimously. It's only been in place for about a year or so. 12 families have taken advantage of it. We should advertise that and let other families do the same thing and let them stick together. But it requires a family member. I don't think anybody in this room or anybody in the city of Salem, 99.9% of the people will support such an effort. And we did. We passed that unanimously. We need more senior housing in Salem. I've had a request from a veteran in Ward 7 that he can't afford his apartment. He lives in Ward 7, in an apartment, he can't afford it. That's a shame. There's no place in the housing authority for him to go. I'm not going to say what his name is. He knows who he is. He's probably home watching right now. I asked him to watch, and I'm speaking on his behalf. He served our country, he has no place to go, and he can't afford that unit. So he's probably going to wind up moving in with some other friends and splitting it like he's a college student. Well, we need more seniors, senior housing. I just said that. But it's like dominoes. We're not building any senior housing in Salem, so the seniors aren't moving out of their houses so much. A few down the Village of Venice Square or next door. A couple of complexes around the city are fairly expensive places, condominiums that seniors might go to. But there's no new senior housing. There's hundreds of seniors on the waiting list, and lots more don't even bother applying because they're never going to get that housing. Unfortunately, they're going to be dead before they come up on the list. It's just not right. We can do better, Mr. President, for our seniors. We're doing nothing for our veterans. We're doing nothing for our seniors. We're doing nothing for low-income people as well. There's nothing in this whole thing that's affordable. In fact, almost everything that we're getting out of these 8 or 9 different housing proposals, there's next to nothing that's affordable in here, truly affordable. At the Boston rate, 93%, that's not affordable. We're not doing it. So it's like dominoes. If we build some senior housing, seniors will move into that housing. That single family might become available, nice single family. Another family who is in a starter home wants to get another bedroom or two, they'll buy that other house and move in there because they want to stay in Salem. A lot of young people want to stay in Salem. So then that other house, the starter home, well, there's another family down the street, they're renting an apartment. They don't want to rent anymore. They're trying to buy an affordable place. They'll move into that starter home. Well, guess what? Now there's an affordable apartment available for somebody in the city. It's dominoes. But we got to get the first domino going. Let's build some senior housing, and let's build it now. When I walked around the neighborhood at around Salem State South Campus, talking to quite a few neighbors, I'm not going to mention people's names. Okay? You know who they are. One neighbor did ask me to use his name. Arthur Francis, retired Salem State professor. He said, yeah, we need more senior housing. He might move into a complex if he and his wife might move into a complex. And he's in a direct abutter to this project. He's right on Harrison Road, going into Salem State South Campus. He would like to see senior housing going in there, or a combination of housing, he also said. You know, majority senior with some young families, put them in there together. Some low-income people, we'll welcome everybody, he said, but we need senior housing in Salem. And I've heard it all around the whole ward, and I think everybody in this room has heard it from their constituents. We need more senior housing. Why aren't we talking about that crisis that will set the whole line of dominoes in action so that housing of all types become available when these seniors can move into some senior housing? Let's talk about something, let's talk about something real, not something that's going to hurt our city. I'll be voting no against this.
The word crisis in Chinese means danger and opportunity. The danger is to do nothing. The opportunity is to do something. We have the opportunity to do something tonight. Real leadership, like the mayor, comes up with solutions. Chair people who want to keep things in committee should come up with solutions. Not delay and defer and say, I have to answer questions. Come up with solutions. That's your responsibility. You took the responsibility of chairperson. Each of us did. And housing is a crisis. Housing. And we have the opportunity to move something. And to kill it tonight is a sin, an injustice. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Oh, everybody's hands went up at the same time. We're going to go right down the line. Council McCarthy, Council Medora, right down the line. Then we'll go to this side of the room. I apologize, but every hand went up at the same time.
Everyone's throwing around buzzwords, leadership, everything like that. I will say, there's only 3 people in this, well, actually 4 people in this room that were present when, for the first time, I got sued in my life. Robert McCarthy et al., City Council. When this body took a bold step and through public outcry, through no course of ours, the Archdiocese of Boston decided to close a church. And we were presented with an option. How can we get a church redeveloped? How can we as a city partner with another entity to create housing? So we took the bold step then. It was a big step. The step we're talking about taking tonight is a baby step. We took a bold, big step. And we extended a zoning from the B5 up 1 block to encompass a church property to allow for housing development, of which I will say 100% affordable. With a waiting list, once generated, was 1,000 people long. Both Salem residents and non-Salem residents, it was 1,000 people long. That was a bold step. We got sued, it got held up in court, but it was a bold step because we as a body were willing to take that step and willing to partner with a developer in order to achieve that. We're not talking about developers here, we're not talking about the boogeyman, we're talking about people who own their homes. We put language in the ordinance to protect against investment opportunities. These are people who own their homes in their neighborhood that if they're looking for any exemption other than the requirements we put in, it requires a special permit, where their neighbors can come in and say, hey, listen, we respect the fact that you live in your house and it's a big house and you want to divide it up and put someone in, but if you don't meet your parking requirement because you don't have off-street parking, then we're going to oppose it because it's going to be detrimental to the neighborhood. That's why the safeguards and the boots and suspenders were put in. It's a baby step. Is it a perfect step? No. Is it an opportunity to provide some relief? Yes. And as you just said, you alluded to the game of dominoes from the top down. This is from the bottom up. You're giving the people that live in their homes the opportunity to potentially utilize their biggest asset. I was getting ready to come to work today, meaning this work, my second job, after spending way too much time doing this job earlier in the day. The news was on. Housing values in the state, on average, not talking pockets, on average across the whole state, up somewhere around 3.5%. Never mind the median cost of a home in one county was up over $550,000, meaning that you had to make some $160,000 just to be able to afford that. This is a baby step. I'm not asking anyone to take a bold step about total affordability. It's a baby step. Thank you.
Thank you. Right down the line, Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. There was a constituent whose company is right next door to my home that came before us over the summer to testify about the need for more housing. And something he said really struck me. He said, I urge this body to lead not by fear, but by managing opportunities. Right here, right now, we have an opportunity. And I'm hearing a lot of fear about R1 neighborhoods becoming R2 neighborhoods, and we've already discussed this, and obviously we disagree about the facts. So rather than use the analogy of dominoes, I want to use the analogy of musical chairs, because musical chairs go round and round just like a life cycle. It's like a song. It also sounds great rather than falling down. The number of chairs that we have now is dwindling, but the number of people playing the game is increasing. We've added more than double the population to the state and jobs, but not the same amount of housing. So again, going back to the musical chairs analogy, I'm thinking about how ADUs might have potentially helped me throughout my life as someone who came here, had very little money, was not married yet, I was trying to pay rent and go to college at the same time and also work. I had the fortune of a family friend who had an attic apartment that they were able to provide me and my then boyfriend an apartment. Without that, I don't think I would have been able to make it through college at all. And the financial crisis, actually before I even moved into that attic apartment, the financial crisis of '08, I lived in a basement apartment. And now we've heard so many people come before us. We have the evidence, the facts that there are community members in Salem that are waiting for us to pass this so they can take advantage of it as a senior to stay in their homes. Not all the seniors want to be moved out of their homes into a building called a senior development. They don't like that label anymore, or so I've heard. They want to be able to stay in their homes and maybe add supplemental income for the next college kid who doesn't really have a job that pays the rent, like myself 15, 20 years ago. To be able to do that so that they can stay in the home that they're familiar with. We have folks who said, my elderly parent is struggling to find a place that they can keep up, so I would like to build this ADU when this ordinance passes, so maybe my parent can move in, or somebody else could move into their home who is not a family member or caretaker. We've heard that here. We've also heard from our seniors that say, this type of housing has actually benefited my life throughout my entire lifetime. We have people who are living currently in legal ADUs, carriage houses, who are millennials, who are Gen Xers, or whatever label you want to put on them right now, that say that this type of housing is right now currently benefiting them to be able to live and afford living in Salem. So the evidence is there, the facts are here. And I'm wondering why we are saying that this is not going to make any difference. It is already making a difference one way or the other. It is so important that we do something now. The opportunity is now, and we can take that vote and manage that opportunity now, rather than just shut everything down and delay further.
Thank you. Councilor Milo? Councilor Gerard?
Thank you, Mr. President. I apologize before if my language was a little too blunt. Some of the things that you were talking about, talking about the importance of senior housing. ADUs are senior housing. I'm thinking about my constituents that their family couldn't afford to stay, so their younger generations have moved away. They've started new lives elsewhere. They're in homes that have stairs. They can't keep going up and down the stairs, but they have garages that they can build out if we allow this, so that they can have someone move in and take over and pay the rent so that they can stay in their homes. I don't understand how you can't see this as affordable house, or I'm sorry, as senior housing. I don't understand how you see this as I'm not even sure what you guys are really seeing this as, because like as you described, like with Arthur Francis, that if his family is gone, if he wants to stay in Salem, if he doesn't want to wait 3 years on the Salem housing wait list, if he wants to be able to build something out at his house so that somebody can move in and they can stay in their home, why should we deny them that opportunity? If we're talking about taking care of generations of Salemites, this is one way to do it. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to do it. It just means that it's something that's available to people. And exactly what the Ward 2 councilor said, talking about carriage houses. I mean, that was the original ADU, that it was okay for Chestnut Street, but it's not okay for other parts of the city. Like, this is mind-boggling, and I don't understand why we would have dragged this out so long if now enough of you are saying we're not going to do it at all. And why bother having planning working on this for months? Why have the mayor's office working on this for months? Why have any of us, the public, the other your colleagues coming to meetings for months if this was going to be the outcome, that you didn't want this at all, and you can't see a way to do this, because, again, this ends up hurting Salem. That's what we're trying not to do. And the thing is that when you sit in these chairs, there are going to be unintended consequences no matter what vote you take. Even when you make a simple vote as putting someone on a committee, there are unintended consequences. But we were put here by the voters to make decisions. And the voters have asked us to do this. I have heard from so many people, so many constituents that want this, that need this in order to stay in Salem. Why are we continuing to hurt those people when our current housing policies aren't working for everyone anymore? Are we still a city that takes care of its own, or aren't we?
Council Fury, I'm not sure if your hand went up. Council Fury? Did your hand go up? I'm not sure. No? Okay. Council Turriello's hand went up.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we do have a need for senior housing. We do have a need for housing for some of our veterans. Fortunately, most of our veterans come home and are able to pick up their lives and resume after their service and move back into their homes. And I have a friend down the street from me who has served multiple tours and has come back to his home each time and moved back to his work, and great guy. And that's not everybody, but we have a Salem Housing Authority that has the charge, and they're a state agency. They have the charge of developing that housing. That's not what we do as a city council. That's not what the private developers do. But we do have a state agency that now has new leadership, has a almost entirely new board, and is hopefully going to move forward and make some of those decisions and find some funding and make some improvements for our seniors, for our veterans, for our families in need. But that has nothing to do with this. And I think that's the point that we're missing. Yes, we have needs all around. We have needs for purely affordable housing. We have needs for market rate housing. We have needs for families that want to generate some income from their homes to help make them more affordable to live in, to help put some extra money in their pockets, and to help take advantage of, frankly, unused space for empty nesters and seniors who want to stay in their homes and don't want to get on that waiting list for Salem Housing Authority homes. So it takes all sorts of things to try and address this. And I remember, I'll wrap this up in a second. I remember in 2016 when I was sworn in as president of this body, and I remember in the speech that I gave to start off that year that housing was an issue. And I know, and I have friends who make good incomes, and as a family, I can cite a couple right now who I know they make, as a family, a little over $90,000 a year between the two of them. They are in an apartment right now that they can only really afford to be in because they have a landlord who's not looking to maximize value and is really, frankly, not putting money into the property. If that rent ever went up significantly at their combined income, they'd be out of Salem. And that's making that, $90,000 or so that is in the range that we look at as, too much to be considered affordable. So there's a lot of different things that we need to do as a city. We created ADUs for family members and caregivers. Right now, should that need go away? Should a family member want to leave? Should the caregiver leave the property? Those ADUs have to be dismantled and shut down. There's no legal path to keep them going. So I don't think you're going to see a way if we do this, and it looks like we're not. But if this were to pass, you're not going to see a sudden wave of single-family homes all becoming multifamily. you're not going to see massive expansion. You're going to see maybe a couple of dozen of these a year that are conforming and can be done without making any impact or requiring a special permit process. And again, it's not the entirety of it, but this is yet another thing that we've spent months on to try and help a little bit here and there. There have been a lot of good questions asked, a lot of good discussion, and a lot of really good work by the mayor and by the planning staff to try and address all the concerns that have been brought forward. And it's a real shame that this is likely now to get tossed overboard. So it's too bad that that's what this body sees fit to do, but that's the vote we have to take.
We've heard from this whole side. We're continuing down the line. If you have additional comments, Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think that's, like I mentioned in my comments before, the debate is very healthy. Based on some comments that we hear from some people saying that we take too long debating issue. To me, it's a learning experience, but also reassure me that my decision is going to be based on a very informative way. So I'm not afraid to disagree or agree with some of my colleagues, which I respect to that, because not only have the opportunity to serve the great city of Salem, but also take the time from their family away to represent the entire city. So debating the issue, and I want to bring that to the public, debating the issue is basically one of the duties of our body. So I'm not afraid to ask the question, as you've seen from day one, and I'm not afraid also to take a position independently of in any aisle. I'm very clear on what I'm doing, like I say, and I repeat myself based on the fact that I haven't seen what we need to take care of the issue that we have. I've been saying from day one we need to be more aggressive. I know the answers are very, very nice. We hear a lot of things, but we need to have solutions that really deliver it to the people that we represent. It's not only a yes or no. It is, are we having the real solution? Are we going to take care of those issues now? If we have those assured in our hand, we can move forward. If we don't have any, and I had to be honest with you, I'm tired of listening to a lot of comments and nothing happened. I don't care if you or anyone tagged me as maybe as someone that doesn't want it to pass. I was mandated to do a job for 2 years, and I want to do it right. I want to do it right because at the end of the day, when I finish my term, I want to be able to look at the mirror and say, oh, I contribute to some solution that at least going to move forward some family that need to have some places to live. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. A lot has been said tonight, so I won't make this long. But, one of our colleagues said, we don't make the decision based on what we see here and hear here in the chamber. That does factor in, of course, but we also have heard from lots of people back at home, and I certainly have heard from lots of people who want this, but I also want to point out we all have a view here in this chamber, and not everybody, we all sort of are looking past our colleagues at different groups of people, and I don't want to embarrass the ones that I'm looking at, but there are some young people in the chamber who are literally grasping each other with visible anxiety about the decision that we're about to make on their behalf, because this is something that is a really good solution for our community and one that they're asking for. And I know that this is something that is a really good solution for our seniors, a really good solution for our young workers, a really good solution for our veterans. This is something that keeps, when we talk about protecting our neighborhoods, I hope that we really stop and think about what we mean by that, because our neighborhoods are our people, and right now, by making this decision, we're sort of deciding to I don't know, what, protect the buildings over the people, because we're going to force, in some cases, a senior who's not able to stay in their home because they can't get somebody to move into the space with them, or a veteran who comes home and can't afford to stay. This is a solution. It's not the magic bullet across the board, but it is something that can solve a lot of those problems that we're talking about. And I think it's very short-sighted of us to require the word senior or require the word veteran in this. This is something that is a very obviously really good solution for those populations, and something that I know I've heard from a lot of people in those age groups that really want this. So thank you.
Thank you. Council Flynn, I'm not sure if your hand went up, but about 8 others did go up. All set? Council Sergeant? Okay. On the motion by Councilor McCarthy for second and final passage, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
No.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
No.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
No.
Councilor Dominguez?
No.
Councilor Dibble?
No. On the motion by Councilor McCarthy, 11 councilors present, 6 voting in the affirmative. The matter does not carry. Further committee reports. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, October 24, 2019. The Committee on Ordinances, Licensed Legal Affairs, co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of amending zoning ordinance relative to Section 3.2.8, accessory living
No, next
dwelling
one.
units.
Next
Oops, sorry, I read the wrong one.
That's all right.
Let me go back. I apologize. Let me catch my breath. City of Salem City Council, October 24, 2019. The Committee on Ordinance and Licensed Legal Affairs, co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the amending zoning ordinance relative to accessory living areas, accessory dwelling units, Section 3.1, Table of Principal Uses, has considered the matter and would recommend the matter refer out as amended with no recommendation.
On the acceptance report, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. On the adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Mr. President, with regards to the relative to the last vote, this vote is irrelevant because without an ordinance, there is no need for a table, so I don't think we need to take a formal vote. I mean, the recommendation is referral with no recommendation, and I think it's just referred out. I don't know how you want to deal with it, if you would just want to take a hand vote, but you don't have to do a roll call vote, but that's entirely up to you. I'll leave it at your discretion, but there's no need to pass or try to have an attempt to pass this, because without the first one, the second one is irrelevant.
I'd agree, but we can't have it lying
Then
out there in limbo.
I move for roll call votes,
Okay, thank you.
because that's the proper way to do it. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? There being none. On the recommendation by Councilor McCarthy, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
No.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo? No. Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
No.
Councilor Dominguez?
No.
Councilor Dibble?
No. On the motion by Councilor McCarthy, 11 councilors present, 6 voting in the affirmative, 5 in the negative. The matter does not carry.
President, move immediate reconsideration. Hopefully does not prevail.
Under discussion, being none. On Councilor Sargent's motion for immediate reconsideration in hopes that it does not prevail, all those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
The matter does not carry.
Table?
Okay.
One
Further
more,
committee...
Mr. President.
Sorry?
I have one more.
No, I have another one here, sir. Further committee reports. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, October 24, 2019. The Committee on Ordinances, Licensed Legal Affairs, co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom is referred the matter of amending zoning ordinance relative to 3.2.8 accessory living units, has considered the matter and refer out as amended with no recommendation. No, that's the wrong one. Wow, once again, I goofed it. City of Salem City Council, October 24th, sorry, it's been a long meeting. The Committee on Legislative Affairs co-posted Committee of the Whole, to whom was the matter of an ordinance to amend an ordinance, Chapter 15, short-term rental, Section 4A, ineligible residential units, as its citizen matter, and recommend that if the two ADU zoning ordinance amendments pass for second passage, then this recommended for ordinance to be adopted for first passage. But since that didn't happen, I would just leave the matter in committee and let it die by the end of the year.
Okay. On the, under discussion?
No.
Any additional discussion, rather?
The discussion simply that if we pass the first two, then you needed to pass this, because then you'd have two competing things in the ordinance book. So now that they didn't, the first one didn't pass, it's irrelevant.
Yep. On the recommendation by Council McCarthy to leave the matter in committee, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Communications from city officials.
Do we want to go back?
Oh, let's
We have
go
to go
back.
back.
What page would we go to? 11. Thank you, everybody. Motions, orders, and resolutions.
Thank you.
Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this, I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Sure, we heard, I won't need to go into it very much. We heard lots of testimony about this earlier. This is in favor of the Benson bill, which is a resolution in favor of the Benson bill at the state level. We've made lots of steps in the direction of addressing our climate crisis by supporting state efforts, and I hope that we will do so in this case. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council Sergeant.
There's a lot to this. I would move that it go to Committee on Government Services, co-post to the Committee of the Whole, please.
Thank you. Council Fury?
Councilor Debo, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm surprised I'm coming down on this one. There is a lot in this, and I hope that it does not, and I apologize, I hope it does not go to committee. I usually like, if a council wants it to go to committee, I say let's put it into committee. This is important. We heard a lot of testimony here tonight. I've been working for the last month and a half with a group of Salem State students on this exact, not the exact same, but the same issue, a similar resolution. And they're scheduled to come in here in our November meeting with a similar resolution. And I've been in contact with them today that our CERC group and others beat them to the punch here with the same resolution. I'm in favor of this resolution. I've been working on it for a month and a half. Not this one, but one that's almost identical. So I applaud the CERC committee for bringing this forward. I think the CERC committee brought it forward. Council Peterson brought it forward on their behalf, I think. So thank you. This is important. I've had stickers and magnets on my truck talking about carbon pricing on the back of my pickup truck in my car for the last 3 years, probably or longer. This is a good thing to help the environment, a really strong thing, and we need to push the state to act, not just on this, but on the gas leaks and everything else that you've been hearing myself and SAFE and Pat Kazumba and many other people talk about. I say this goes forward tonight, and I'm voting in favor of it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the original.
Any further discussion? Yeah, Council Sergeant. Okay, withdrawn. Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor Peterson's motion for adoption by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. On the motion by Council Peterson, 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, October 24th, 2019, ordered that the city solicitor and the director of inspectional services investigate and create an ordinance amendment to Chapter 12, Building, Electricity, and Plumbing Regulations, or another appropriate code of ordinance, to require the installation of tap boards wherever construction or scaffolding abuts pedestrian walkways, and to report back to the full council by the November 21st, 2019 council meeting, and I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Yes, thank you. We heard a little less, but still good testimony about this tonight. We, as the liaison to the Commission on Disabilities, we've been thinking about this for quite some time, and we did a trial run of kind of a version of this with the new Charlotte Fortin Park at 289 Derby. We worked with that construction team to try it out, and it worked well. The idea behind this is for anybody who uses a white cane or a wheelchair or crutches, that this would be a way to safely and easily navigate pedestrian walkways along construction zones. And so I spoke with our city solicitor and our director of inspectional services and made sure that this was the right way to go, and they both actually recommended that this is the way that we proceed. So I look forward to getting language back from them and being able to vote on it in our next meeting.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council Sergeant.
Just quickly, Mr. President, sometimes we do symbolic resolutions, but this is the real deal. I've never ceased to be amazed by seeing somebody without sight navigate their way around the city, up and down curbs, through traffic. I just don't know how they do it. But if we can help them with this thing and have a long, straight line for them to navigate against instead of pushing in and out of a construction site, boy, this is a great thing. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, on Council Peterson's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones limited time is hereby amended by adding the following. Cross Street, 1 handicap parking space is to be added in front of number 3, starting 60 feet from the corner and continuing in a southerly direction for a distance of 20 feet. Handicap zones limited time. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter. I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Yes, very quickly, this was a handicap space that was added as a trial in response to urgent need of a resident who is disabled. One second. Yep. Just making sure it was recorded that the trial was successful. The trial was successful, so we are going to amend the ordinance to reflect the need. Thanks.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Council Madore's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained the City Council, City of Salem as follows, amending Chapter 42, Section 50A, handicap parking zone is hereby amended by adding the following. Peabody Street in front of number 38 for a distance of 20 feet. Handicap parking zones, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. Briefly, we repaved Peabody Street and redid the sidewalks, and it came to the attention of that the existing handicap section, or there's actually 2 of them coming up, there's another one. They weren't in the ordinance book, but they were being used by people in the building, so we did a temporary one, and now that the road's been paved and the sidewalk's been redone, we want to make them permanent, so this is just in order to reflect that. And that'll be the same as the second one.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Nope. On the motion by Council McCarthy for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council McCarthy.
See, I unclipped them, and I almost did the same thing again. I'm like I shuffled them. City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 50A, handicap parking zone is hereby amended by adding the following. Peabody Street in front of number 38 for a distance of 20 feet. Handicap parking zone. This ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter.
Under discussion.
No discussion, Mr. President. The same as I just said, it was during construction, we came across two zones that weren't in the books properly. It's just a dotting the i's and crossing the t's.
Agreed. Any further discussion from any counselor? There being none. On Counsel McCarthy's motion for adoption for first passage. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Counsel Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, year 2019, ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 50A, handicap parking zones, is hereby amended by adding the following. Washington Street in front of number 280 for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking zones. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter. I move for adoption for first passage.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very briefly, this was, these next three ordinances were originally done back at the beginning of the summer as a trial because of our meeting schedule. There were no issues. They were done, these were put in place on a trial basis. They worked fine, no issues with them, so this is the paperwork to make them official.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On Counsel Terrio's motion for adoption for first passage. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Counsel Terrio.
Mr. President, year 2019, ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Just checking, make sure I have the right one. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 74, general towing zone is hereby amended by adding the following. Lafayette Street in front of 249 is marked by sign Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., tow zone, doctor's office only. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter, and I move for adoption for first passage.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is basically the same kind of deal as the last one. This is right across my house. I know it well.
That's it? Okay. Any further discussion? There being none. On Counsel Terrio's motion for adoption for first passage. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Do you have anything else? It gives me great ceremonial pleasure.
One more of these.
Oh, sorry. You have one more?
Yes.
How did I miss that? Counsel Terrio.
Page
Further
15.
motions, orders, and resolutions.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem's year 2019 ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Amending Chapter 42, Section 474. General towing zone is hereby amended by adding the following. Lafayette Street in front of number 156 is marked by sign Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tow zone, doctor's office only. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter, and I move for adoption for first passage.
Under discussion.
Same as the last one.
Okay. Any further discussion? There being none. On Counsel Terrio's motion for adoption for first passage. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Any further actions, City Councilors? There being none. It gives me great ceremonial pleasure to present this gavel. If I can have Councilor Peterson come on back up.
We're more.
We got a lot more to go, Council.
Not that much. I mean,
yeah. If you want to skip the rest of the stuff,
we only got 5 pages.
Page 18?
We only have 5 more pages.
How did that happen? Well, Councilor Terrio, we'd like to, Councilor Peterson, would you like to handle the whole rest of the meeting? No? Okay. Motions, orders, let's see, where are we? What page are we on, folks?
18.
We've bounced around a little bit here tonight. We got out of order. Now we're back on order. Communications from city officials. Madam City Clerk.
The following order introduced by the city solicitor, we have an order in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 26A, 268A, Section 20B. The City Council hereby declares that Joanne Rumi has met the requirements for exemption as set forth in this section and may be retained as the Clerk of the Tree Commission and Clerk of the Cemetery Commission by the Department of Public Services not to exceed 500 hours in this calendar year.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've done this before with various city employees when they go to take another job in the city. This one specifically is to take minutes at meetings that are at night. We've done it in the past where the building inspector has been an assistant harbor master, a firefighter has been in charge of the pool up at Forest River. It's just a way that we're making the public aware that this Joanne, who does great work in the legal department, wants to take on a few extra added responsibilities, but we have to pass this in order to make it official because that's just the way it is. And so, and we've done it before, and because she meets all the qualifications, I would move for adoption by roll call vote.
Any further discussion? Councilor McCarthy, I have a few questions on this one here. I'm wondering if you're welcome putting it, or if I could see a motion to put this into the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs.
If I may, Mr. President, for what purpose? I mean, this is something we've done before. There's an existing person, they've met the requirements. There's, I mean, if you want me to, then I mean, my committee at best is overburdened with the amount of issues that gets referred to it. And if you want to, then I would suggest that I'm going to bring it, I mean, unfortunately, we only have 2 more meetings scheduled in this calendar year, so I'm going to have to schedule it before the next council meeting, I guess, in order to make sure that you're available to come to the meeting, because as far as I can see, you're the only person in the room that has a question. So if you want to,
If it would help, we could put it to Government Services or another.
To be honest with you, it doesn't matter which committee. We only have 2 more meetings left. It doesn't matter which committee it goes to. I'll take it on, but I'm just going to say that this is something we've done before, and I don't know what the issue is, and I guess if you don't want to disclose it publicly now, then we'll have to wait till you decide to ask whatever question it is you have in the committee setting.
Yep, I'm simply asking for the courtesy to put it in the committee. I have a couple questions.
Well, I would, okay, I'm going to leave it at that because.
So do I see a motion or no?
No.
A motion to put it in committee? There being no second? Second. On the motion to refer the matter to Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted, Counselor? Okay. Counselor Sargent? Co-posted? Co-posted. All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
The matter does not carry. On Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. On the motion by Councilor McCarthy, 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further communications from city officials.
We have the following order introduced by Jane Guy, Assistant Community Development Director, on an order that the council approved originally on April 25th, but they need to revote for the conservation restriction at 15 Ward Street due to the change in the state law or state language.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. I spoke with Jane Guy earlier today. I also had the opportunity to speak with the city clerk when this matter became before us. It was voted on 11-0. Basically, the state changed a few words in the language, and this, in order to be thorough and dot all the i's and cross all the t's, the state is asking us to retake the vote to reflect the language that's now been amended at the state level. So I would recommend for adoption for roll call vote.
Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor McCarthy's motion that it be adopted by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
Do you have to really lean in? Oh, okay.
On the motion by Councilor McCarthy, 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further petitions.
We have petition from Comcast to install a conduit at 231 Washington Street.
The hearing will be ordered November 21st, 2019. Further petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Lafayette Street to hold a block party behind Solenstar School on October 25th, 2019 from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be granted.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is this is already in the works. This is an event held by the Saltonstall School. They did this for the first time last year, their own little block party for their community, and they've put it together to do it again. So, we worked all this, but it's still before us today. All the departments have already been notified, so it's not on really short notice. But they had a good time doing it last year, despite rather torrential rain that day, and looks like they're okay on the weather this time.
Sounds good. Any further discussion? There being none, on Council Terrio's motion that it be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have a list of 3 public guides.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to be granted.
Under discussion?
No discussion, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Council McCarthy's motion that they be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have the following tag day license.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that it be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Under discussion?
No discussion, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Council McCarthy's motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have 1 drain layer contract operator license application.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that it be granted.
Under discussion?
No discussion, Mr.
Any
President.
further discussion? There being none, on Council McCarthy's motion that the matter be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Unfinished business. Madams, Council Terrio.
Okay. Oh, Council, we lead it, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council McCarthy moves that to take from the table the second reading of an order to amend the rules and orders of the City Council.
All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it.
We have a second reading of an order to amend the rules and orders of City Council by amending Section 10 by deleting the word "shall rise" and.
I'm sorry, Council Terrio. Council McCarthy? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you, Mr. President. I move to take it off the table so we can have this discussion. I want to give credit to the city clerk. We have a new microphone with a new end on it that supposedly we're testing out, and the city clerk has been doing her due diligence over the last couple of weeks. We don't know with the feedback yet from that if it's going to solve our issues. So unless there's, I would move that we put it back on the table and leave it there until we can make sure that if this is going to work and solve our issues, then maybe this is a discussion for another day relative to having to stand up and down. So I'll leave it to the will of the body, but I just want to let you know that the city clerk is being diligent about trying to correct the issue before we have to take this vote.
Council Terrio.
Well, I believe, did the Ward 1 councilor move to put this back on the table, or are you?
I didn't get I'll let you go.
Okay.
I didn't get a second.
Okay, well, for starters, I'm not sure if anybody was sure you made the motion, but, so I move that this be adopted by roll call vote, and we'll go from there, but I made the motion to adopt by roll call vote.
Yeah.
If there's a motion to put it on the table, I would second it for Council McCarthy.
I'm sorry, his matter should be handed.
It wasn't seconded at the time, so.
All right.
Yeah, I was in error, so his matter should have been heard first, not seconded, I guess. So Council Terrio, we go forward with yours.
Well, I'll just, if that winds up
Under
being.
discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. So this is something, we are still experimenting with some of the technology. And I will just note, if this body does not want to go forward with this fairly simple action, yes, there are a lot of rules that ultimately we should be taking a look at as we go forward. There's other places where we should be looking at it. I'll just note that this was based on, this procedure, this process is based simply on the fact that we operate under Cushing's and rather than under Robert's rules, which is why we're the only body in the city and really one of the only bodies anywhere that does this practice. And it's fine, and if that's what the will of the body is, then so be it. But this just seemed to me to be a fairly common sense way to make it easier for us to not have to worry so much about what the technology was before us and just be able to do our business in a simple and straightforward fashion. Beyond that, yeah, there's plenty of stuff we should be looking at for practice, but as I noted before, other than the changing our one rule about how the seats are assigned to make what we've been doing for about 40 years legal. We haven't really done anything with the rules in a long time. So yes, we should be moving forward with other changes. This has seemed to me like a fairly practical and pragmatic one. And I'll note, we sit in our committee meetings, we sit for public hearing process within a city council meeting, and we sit for the joint public hearings. It's just during this actual session itself that we have to stand when we speak. So either which way, I'll keep standing, I'll start sitting, whatever the body decides to do.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? Before we continue, part of the recommendation was to refer the matter to Government Services, but I'd like to see a motion to suspend the rules to allow the city clerk to speak and to give us an explanation of where we are with these microphones.
So moved. That was my...
We can always ask her to speak. We don't have to suspend the rules.
We need to suspend the rules.
Yeah.
So do I have a second?
Yeah.
No, you made the motion.
I made the
Second.
motion.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, can we hear from you on where are we at?
Okay, so on October 17th, I have written in an email that we did have the representative from the company that installed the speakers and the audio equipment in the chambers in with a representative from the company. They did find that there had been some tweaking itself within the computer program on the equalizer. It's the technology, it's a little bit above my level. But we also, at the same time, found out that somehow between the installation and now, the two speakers on the side of the room are not working properly. So they have a service person coming here. They haven't been able to schedule that date yet with me. So I'm waiting to hear back from them on when they're coming for the speakers. And again, it's the will of the body, but I just wanted to do, as Councilor McCarthy, good Councilor, once said, that my due diligence of trying to rectify the issue, whether, and it sounds, they did make it, when they did test it, we were trying to test it all week. Unfortunately, the meetings that we had, nobody occupied the seat, but I don't know how tonight felt, but again, it's up to the will of the body.
Yeah. I'd like to see the results of that, but Councilor Turley, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will also give the city clerk a lot of credit for the work that she's done on this for over the last few months to get this system up and running. It is a new process for us getting up and hitting the button, but it's, that part of it I think we're starting to get used to. Again, it's a question, we can ultimately throw technology at a lot of things and improve a lot of things, but again, regardless of whether and what we're using for microphones, this, like I said, this to me just seems like a fairly simple way to make the microphone, whatever we're using for technology and whatever we're using for microphones, just work better for us. That's all.
Yeah, Councilor Turley, I just want to point out that whether this room is empty, almost empty like it is now, or it was full as it was earlier today, you, more so than all the other councilors, I can hear you up here through the speakers so much clearer than all the other microphones. So that microphone, in my opinion, up here is working. I don't know how it's working down there. Councilor Fiore, you had your hand up.
Mr. President, this is a no-brainer, common sense. I want to give credit to Dustin Luca, reporter for the Salem Evening News, for making us aware. If we're going to be a legal meeting, we should be heard within this chamber and on SATV. This allows us the opportunity. He said up and down, up and down. You watch the school committee. I was at the school committee meeting Monday night. They're down. They're sitting down, reporting to the constituents. All can be heard. So it's a no-brainer, a simple solution to technology. And I'm a big pro for technology, as you know, right? Ho, ho, ho. Councilor Churio, this is no-brainer. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I thought it was Christmas. Any further discussion? Okay. So I'm not sure where we go with this. We have the table, which we didn't go forward with. Councilor Turley, you want to speak to us? Where are we going with this now?
Well, and I'll stand up for it, but the one thing that I would add is I would say I agree with a sentiment that I heard at the last meeting when we were discussing this, that should this be done, this should take effect at the beginning of the next council year. But that said, I think this is something we should move forward with, and It's simple, it makes sense, and it doesn't stop us from improving the technology that we're using here at the desk. And if this microphone is working very well to pick me up from a distance, then wonderful. I think it's great. It's a little funny looking, but get used to it. So that all said, I would like to move forward with the one amendment that I'd like to make, is that this would take effect at the beginning of the next city council year. But otherwise, I'd like to see us vote on it.
Any further discussion? Oh, Councilor Fury.
Councilor Dibble, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'm really big on tradition with all the work that we've been putting on for the zoning issues and the ADUs and on and on. I wanted to find out why this was in here, that we shall rise. And there's probably well, yes, but there's probably an explanation of why we should rise. And without doing the research, in my personal opinion, is to give the respect and not interruption for a councilor who's risen. But I think if we're all sitting, then we're more apt to, not just this council, but future councils, to interrupt each other possibly. So I'd like to find out why it's in there and what's the reason for it. And I haven't had time to do the research because we've had many more important things to do than this one here. So I apologize. I meant to do the research over the last week and a half. I didn't do it, Councilor Turiel. So I'm wondering if you'll oblige me, and if we can lay it on the table, I'll do the research and I'll probably vote in favor of this. Or I'll come back with some reasons why we should be standing. I'm not sure. So I'm asking for the courtesy. Can we lay it on the table, or we put in government service? Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we refer the matter to government services, go post it.
Really on the table.
All right. That's the will of the body. I'll do that. I'd like to make a motion that we lay the matter on the table for the next meeting.
And there's no debate, we're laying it on the table, right? So, all those in favor of laying it on the table, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Thank you.
Okay, so the matter carries. It's laid on the table to the next meeting.
Mr. President?
Yes, Council McCarthy,
Thank
hand
you,
up.
Mr. President. When you're doing all your homework on laying it on the table, everyone should wear a shirt and a tie. No one should be in the chamber with their head uncovered. I mean covered, meaning they can't wear hats. There are a lot of rules in there. When you reference why is it in there, it's because it's in Cushing's.
Yep.
We operate under Old English, so I don't know when the last time you read the Cushing's manual was. When I was a freshman counselor, it took me 4 times reading that thing to understand it, because it was like reading a Shakespearean play. But I just want to let you know there's a lot of rules in there that when you're going to look at why we stand, there's a lot of rules in there that just because of when it was written, women weren't in any of these seats or weren't elected because it was written Old English way back in the day. So a lot of the rules that are in there don't reflect what is actually going on in this chamber. So this is why we've asked to look at the rules numerous times. Ooh, sorry.
I actually have 2 copies of Cushing's, and I've read it once, my first month or so as a counselor. It's not an easy read, not enjoyable. But I don't remember there being a reason stated anywhere. But I'm going to go back and reread it, and maybe I'll Google and see if there's a reason why we shall rise when we're asking questions. Okay. So, we've taken the vote, yes. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance relative to traffic for Summit Street.
Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. An ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by City Council of Salem as follows. Amending Chapter 42, Section 50B, Handicap Zones, limited time, is hereby amended by adding the following. Summit Street, 1 handicap parking space to be added in front of number 20, beginning 4 feet southwest of the driveway at 16 Summit Street, running southwesterly for a distance of 20 feet. This ordinance should be taken effect as provided by City Charter, and I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Under discussion. No. Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor Dominguez's motion for adoption for second and final passage. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic for repealing handicap parking on North Street.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for second and final passage.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor Gerard's motion for adoption for second and final passage. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Any further actions? There being none. It gives me great ceremonial this time to invite Councilor Peterson up here.
Councilor Fury.
Madam President, motion to adjourn, please.
All in favor? We are adjourned.